rebels unwilling to resolve their rebel status, for which the Syrian government has been offering broad amnesty, are expected to be transferred north into rebel-held areas there. Once completed, this effectively ends the rebellion across southern Syria. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap and Amazon, at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com. UPI reports federal prosecutors dropped charges Friday against the remaining 38 protesters arrested during President Donald Trump's inauguration, according to court documents. The U.S. Attorney's Office in the District of Columbia made the decision to drop the rioting charges after 21 people pled guilty. Police initially arrested and charged 234 people with rioting. Prosecutors dropped cases against 129 people in January in order to focus attention on more serious offenses. 6 defendants who went to trial were acquitted of charges, and prosecutors said they'd be unable to secure convictions for dozens of others. Called out for individual acts of vandalism, violence, and destruction, prosecutors allege the protesters engaged in black bloc tactics on January 20th, 2017 during Trump's swearing-in, causing damage to vehicles and property. 6 police officers were hurt during the protest as they exchanged flashbang explosives with protesters hurling rocks and firecrackers at them. Police said the protest resulted in more than $100,000 in damage across the District of Columbia. A statement from the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington, D.C. said in light of results in the cases brought to trial, however, the U.S. Attorney's Office has now moved to dismiss charges against the 38 remaining defendants in this matter. Defense attorneys said prosecutors overreached in most of the cases, saying their clients were peaceful protesters caught up in arrest of the more violent rioters. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system and to fully capitalize on that decision in their fundraising efforts. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy, maximizing the potential cross-promotion of all our clients and commercial partners. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com. Reuters reports a federal judge ordered on Friday that the U.S. government must provide a list by Saturday evening of the estimated 100 children under the age of 5 who were separated from their parents when entering the United States. Judge Dana Sabraw also ordered the government to explain by Saturday its expectation for reuniting each of those children with their parents by the end of Tuesday. Sabraw last month issued the reunification order, which also set a July 26 deadline for more than 2,000 children to be reunited with their parents. The U.S. government attorneys said they may fail to meet these deadlines due to delays in confirming family relationships, but Sabraw declined to extend them without more information. The judge said, "What I'm contemplating is that the government provides a list to plaintiffs' counsel by tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific, with the identities of the children." He also asked the government to provide the ACLU, which brought the class action case, with expectations for meeting the deadline for each of the children on the list. The judge scheduled a status conference for Monday at 10 a.m. and said he hopes the government and the ACLU can reach agreement about any need to extend the reunification deadline. The government said in court documents that it was particularly struggling to connect children with their parents who were released from detention. ACLU attorney Lee Gallant said organizations would jump at the chance to help connect the parents with their children. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Jared Gilchrist was surfing when he was attacked by a shark that took his leg. Thanks for being with us, big guy.
Thanks, this is tight.
What was going through your mind when you first realized that you were there with a shark all alone in open water?
I felt like a total badass. It bit into my leg and started shaking it back and forth, and at that point I just felt, yes, this is sweet.
I can't imagine what it would have been like to see the teeth sinking into your leg like that.
It was sick. At one point I just saw my leg just floating there in the water. It was awesome.
Okay, we're joined now via satellite by Dr. Brian Caddy. What condition was Jared's leg in when you first saw him?
It was in pretty rough shape. The shark had scissored through the muscle, and it was all just like hanging off the bone. It was nuts.
Yeah, I kept touching it. It was slimy as hell.
Yeah, totally. It was insane.
Well, doctor, how do you deal with something like this?
Well, you know, you're never fully prepared for an injury this freaking cool. You know, we just tried to stop the blood loss, and we took a bunch of photos because it's hysterical to freak out the nurses with gnarly shit like this.
This is the Onion News Network. Free Talk Live, the live Saturday edition of the program. We invite you, as always, to take control of the airwaves. If you want, you can bring up anything that's on your mind. Coming up, sex robot brothels.
What?
Welcome to the 21st century.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's becoming a thing.
Sounds like Blade Runner.
We'll tell you a little bit more about that. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And but first, the process of getting to having babies. Apparently, people are not having babies anymore. They're cutting back on sex. Or maybe not cutting back on sex, but being more careful about it.
Well, there's been lots of commercials and talk of condoms. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and Mark, you've got a story about how Americans are cutting back on the babies these days, the millennials specifically.
From the New York Times, Americans are having fewer babies, and they told us why. Americans are having fewer babies. At first, researchers thought they were declining. It was the declining fertility rate was because of the recession, but it kept falling even as the economy recovered. And now it's reached a record low for the second consecutive year. Because the fertility
It's not exactly a big record. A record low. Wait, record low over time or record low over the last few years?
It says record low.
Okay, got it.
I mean, I'm sorry, I haven't.
Meaning the low has been the same for the last 2 years, is what they're saying.
It has another new low.
Okay.
You can't have a record low, the same record. I suppose it could be the same record. But
that's what it sounded like to me.
Okay, it reached a record low for the second consecutive year. That
Got
means
it. It could be another record
last
low.
year was a record low.
This
the year
year's,
before
okay.
that was a record low.
Got it.
Because the fertility rates subtly shapes our major issues of the day, including immigration. Yeah, it does, right? Like, if you're not having as many babies as far as a country goes, you need more people coming in order to fill that gap. Education. Yeah, when the government says you're going to pay for the worst school in a given geographic area, or we're going to take your house away, then yes, education matters.
Well, actually, it hasn't had an effect at all. Here in this area, they've had lower
attendance,
declining attendance, declining.
Still spending more on schools.
Correct, and both at the college level and at like the elementary, middle, high school levels. So just across the board, schools are getting bigger budgets every year, and it doesn't matter to them that there's fewer attendees.
No, let's point out that from American public schools, that the illiteracy rate, the functional illiteracy rate of graduates is more than 19%. 20% of people who graduate government schools in America are functionally illiterate.
1 out of 5.
Yeah. Housing. People have to live somewhere. Labor supply, the social safety net, and support for working families. There's a lot of concern about why today's young adults aren't having as many children. So we asked them.
All right.
Wanting more leisure time and personal freedom.
Yeah.
Well,
I support that.
Right. I mean,
that's why I got a vasectomy many years ago.
Yeah, well,
I'm one of these people.
You're not going to have kids, that's for sure. I would say that this is true. I have a child, he's 10, and you do different things when you're a parent than when you, by the way, kiss sleeping in, goodbye. Kid, right? Once you have kids, kiss it goodbye. Because I just don't sleep in anymore.
Yeah, you can't.
I haven't.
He's going to run in there and jump in the bed and wake you up.
No, it just, you gotta, well, you want a few minutes to yourself? You better get up early.
Before the kid, you mean?
Right, indeed. I don't think I haven't slept past 9 a.m. I don't know how long.
I got up at noon today.
Right. I have not slept till noon since I had a child.
But it wasn't really sleeping in because I was up until like 3 in the morning or something like that.
I'm sorry, that's sleeping in.
How? I was up till like 4 or something.
Yeah, you
That's
get
an
that
8-hour sleep
option because
That's called staying up late, not sleeping in.
I don't have that option. That's not how my life goes.
Right.
I simply cannot.
Your son's
do
in bed
that.
by what, 10? What's his bedtime?
My wife's in bed by 10. My son, I hope to get in bed by 10:30 or 11.
10:30. Okay. Has the bedtime been sort of moving a little later?
Yeah, it
as
just
he's
keeps on
older?
getting later. Well, and plus he's homeschooled, so
he doesn't have to be up at 7 a.m.
Right. He doesn't have to be bright and shining at 5:30 in the morning to get the school bus.
So actually, you might have it easier than some of these government school parents.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Not being able to afford childcare costs. Childcare costs are incredible. You wonder to yourself, why is one of the spouses working in this relationship when you start looking at the bills for childcare, after school care, and that sort of thing? It's incredible. Comparatively, summer camp is cheaper than after school, it seems like. And they've got them for overnight. These costs are the top reasons that young adults give for not wanting or not being sure they wanted children, according to a new survey conducted by the Morning Consult for the New York Times.
So free time and money were two. Yeah,
childcare's too expensive is the number one. 64% cite that. Huh. Want more time for the children that I do have? 54%. Worried about the economy? 49%. Now, that's, yeah. Is the economy going to get better? It looks like it's doing okay now, but you can be sure that with a fiat currency, the way that has the Federal Reserve been flawless as far as the economy goes? No, it hasn't.
The dollar continues to lose value.
Does the government keep on pumping more and more money into higher education? I mean, look what it costs to get a college degree these days. That's a bubble. I have
no idea. I bet it's a lot.
It's incredible. That's a bubble that's ready to burst, ladies and gentlemen.
People have been saying that. The question is, how long can it keep getting pumped up for?
Yeah, that's the trick. The prediction isn't saying that it will happen. The prediction is saying, when will it happen? Because when it comes to investments, you can say that you should pull your money out of this particular investment, but it's going up. I need you to tell me when to pull it out so that I can pull it out just before it pops. And that's not how that works.
Well, in this case, these government colleges, they essentially have almost a guarantee, right? Like, there's this big pipeline of students that are trained and indoctrinated into, hey, kids, you got to go to college. If you want to be a success, you want to make $1 million, you got to go to college. And they just buy into it year after year after year. There's a fresh batch every single year of all these suckers.
That's not the way this stuff works. When 10% of students say it's just not worth it to go to school to get a communications degree, a French horn degree, underwater basket weaving, you pick the liberal arts degree that's out there. And when they say just not worth doing that, that's when this stuff begins to implode. 10%.
Yeah, but can't they just raise their rates 10%?
Sure. Then 10% more drop off. And then what, Ian? Are they going to raise it again? 10%?
Raise it again.
Yeah, they're just going to keep on going.
They just keep going back to the government. It's government money. They just print it all out.
It doesn't work that way.
Just crank up the printing presses.
Yeah. The government
bring it on.
No, the government isn't
hyperinflation.
The government isn't subsidizing. It does subsidize some people's educations, but
isn't it pretty much the exclusive provider of loans for education these days?
It's a loan, Ian.
Yeah.
And what happens when an engineer graduates engineer school with $250,000 in debt?
It's tough.
He's
not bankruptcy that stuff, right?
It's going to be 10 years before he can put a dent in that. At $25,000 a year, he would be able to have to pay to drop that off. No.
Where did I hear there was some kind of forgiveness for government school loans recently? I heard something about that.
I don't know. There's probably some programs that you can go into. Go into certain challenged communities or something like that.
I forget what it was, but I was in a conversation with somebody recently, and I remember I was surprised to hear about it because I thought you can't get bankruptcy on those things, but there was some sort of program or whatever that would allow people to get out of government school loans. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about it. If you know, you want to call in and let me know.
Most people aren't looking at the debt when they go into college. It's like, well, the 13th grade, let's go.
Right.
And, of course, they want to get off to university because it stinks living at home. There's rules and stuff.
Yeah, you can go party.
It's much better to drink and get fat at university, put on that freshman 15, as it were. And, it's a mess.
The toll-free number, if you want to join us here, whether you want to comment on not having babies. Are you somebody who's decided, as a young person or maybe middle-aged person or whatever, that you don't want to have kids, or you already have kids and you've put a stop to it? Mark, you said you're done after number one.
Yeah, that's all we need.
Only one kid. 855-450-FREE is the toll-free number here. 855-450-3733. Or comment on government schools, whatever's on your mind here on the live Saturday edition of Free Talk Live.
What is it costing you in vet bills for that convenience of just pulling open a bag of
formulated, extruded, processed cereal bits that cost a ton of money anyways?
How do you feed your dog to derive not only energy, but a good coat, bright eyes, and a great attitude?
Come to Dynovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
I found his raw meat diet on Dynovite.com.
With just the raw meat and the eggs and the Dynovite and the Super Omega on top of it.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
Ground beef, white rice, eggs, including the shells, and the Dynovite supplement, and then the Lico Chops.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
It just balances out his body and his mind and his spirit.
Adding Dynovite to their diet has every single dog in my kennel looking better than they have ever looked.
Their skin is so much better now that they're on the raw diet. I don't even give them the kibble anymore.
DINOVITE.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm. Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can dial toll-free if you want to take control of the airwaves. You don't have to talk about the government education tuition bubble or young people not having as many babies these days, apparently. That's what Mark was telling us about. We can continue with that story. Of course, your calls and thoughts are welcome at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Free Talk Live wants you to know about liberty.menu. Now, keep in mind, this is exclusively for individuals who reject the initiation of force and those who agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. If you don't understand what that statement means, well, go look up the non-aggression principle and start there. If you are on board with those ideas, then you ought to go and check out liberty.menu. It is a tool for the Liberty community where if you're a business, if you're an events creator, if you're a digital content creator, you can put your listings on the liberty.menu, and then other libertarian types can see what you're doing and find out about it, and then maybe go to it and do that thing. Liberty.menu. You can go there and put stuff up on the site for free. It is a great site. It looks good. It's easy to use. And as I say, it is free for as many listings as you want to add to it. Liberty.menu. And you can use code FTL like Free Talk Live to get a special Free Talk Live listener badge for your user profile. Mark, you got more from the story here about people not having babies these days in America?
That's right. Americans, young adults in America were asked why they're not having children. And some of these reasons, they're listed here sort of chronologically from the biggest, which is childcare is too expensive at 64%.
Can't afford it.
Yep. They want more time with children that they have, worried about the economy, can't afford more children, and waited for financial instability because of the waited because of financial instability. So, that's people that are still waiting for the economy to straighten out. I don't know. At some point or another, if you're waiting to have children because of the economy, how much better is it going to get?
Well, I mean, certainly with this government, the United States federal government, I'm not talking about Trump. I'm talking about Trump, Obama, Bush, Clinton, you name it. With the federal government in charge of monetary policy, it's not going to get better.
But the United States government's in charge of monetary policy basically worldwide. So, yeah.
Well, no, they're not. There are some countries that use the dollar, and certainly the dollar is very important around the globe, but there's a bunch of central banks out there that are printing out a lot of different types of currencies.
Yeah, the dollar is the world reserve currency, and that makes it...
It may not be forever, though.
Well, nothing's forever.
Right.
I mean, the Earth will turn, will fall into the sun and turn to ash. Mm-hmm. Nothing's forever.
What's your dollar going to do then?
Right. What are you going to do with your dollar then, mister? Here you go. They want more leisure time.
Yep.
Not enough paid family leave is at 39%. So there you go. It's my employer's fault. It's society in general. We don't get enough vacation. No paid family leave. There you go. Can't have kids because there's not enough paid family leave. Worried about global instability. You're not having kids because there may be a war somewhere. All right. That hasn't stopped people for a very long time. That's just, to me, that's an excuse.
Well, these are the people who are planning children. There's still plenty of people who are going to be having sex and not planning children, but going to get them.
Well, I think you're a worrywart if you're worried about global instability. Every generation has had problems, and
arguably it's more peaceful around the globe today than it was in the past generations. Is it not?
Yeah, that's what Pinker says. I'm not entirely sure.
Let's go to your calls and thoughts here. John's on the line in Delaware. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, John.
Yeah, hey guys. I just wanted to mention about the young adults not having as many kids or not having the want or need for kids anymore. I think it's a whole, the deal is they're not having as much sex as we once were. Our great-grandparents had families of 8, 5 kids, 6 kids. Our grandparents had 4 to 3 kids. Our parents had 2 to 3. And nowadays, people maybe have 1.
Do you think that's really true, though?
There's some evidence for it.
This is what I heard statistically. I haven't checked the real stats, but if you look around, think about it. How many big families do you guys see anymore?
But wait a minute. Now, hold on. If people were having sex 200 years ago or whatever, great-great-great-grandfathers and such, there wasn't really any good contraception back then, right? So you're much more likely to end up with 8 kids if you keep sticking it in there. Whereas today...
Because you were shooting for that, too. So there was no... that's what you were looking for. You're looking for farm help.
Yeah.
Free farm help.
But now, of course, contraception is better. But regardless, aren't a lot of the millennials criticized for having a hookup culture? Isn't that supposedly a thing where people will meet on...
I think that was our culture, Generation X maybe, but not the millennials, man. Even over in Japan, they're having huge problems.
Well, Japan, that's
with
true.
Reproduction. The guys, yeah.
Japan, that's true. I've read stories about Japan.
But just because you have a lot of sex partners does not mean you have a lot of sex, okay? People who have think about your number, people, and understand that you had sex probably with a small segment of that number, and the others are, one-nighters or a few times or short relationships.
So what you're saying is if you had a long relationship with a healthy sex life, you probably have had sex more times than someone with a bunch of sexual partners with one-time hookups.
Right. The argument is that Americans are having less sex in relationships.
That's what I believe.
Are having less sex.
In relationships?
I believe that. And I believe in relationships is because of entertainment. So
really? So that Netflix is just better than sex now? Is that the idea?
Video games, all that.
Okay, when you had none of that.
Not for me, it's not. Don't get it wrong, gentlemen. For me, I put that way up.
We know you're not the one. We knew. We were sure of that.
Nowadays, these kids, I don't get it.
Now, is this something that's been studied? Because I remember we've read it about Japan, where it's sort of this cultural shift towards people not even getting into relationships with one another at all, let alone having any sex. And
exactly what I heard.
We've read information about teenagers in the United States that they don't even hang out anymore because they're on their devices constantly, and because they're not hanging out, they're not going out on dates.
Man.
Huh?
They're in that phone 24/7 or on the internet.
But is that true of millennials who are not teenagers? Is that true? I guess they're not even teenagers anymore, right? Millennials. Is that true of people in their 20s and 30s? Are they so insular? Are they antisocial? Are they not even doing anything to meet? Really?
It's
not
about
this hookup culture. Supposedly everybody's on Tinder now and they're just having sex left and right. Is that not happening?
No. Listen to what I'm saying instead of just bloviating.
I'm asking. I'm not bloviating. I'm asking.
You're asking long questions. I was attempting to answer earlier.
Okay.
When there's no radio, there's no television. I mean, you got to look back in time.
Yeah.
When people went to bed when the sun went down.
Right, because there's not lights or not easy lights.
There's nothing to do.
When he came up.
Right. Your entertainment is beer and sex. All right? That's your entertainment.
He's right about that. That's a true point. They said there was a lot more drinking back in the day than there is now also. And that had a lot to do with it. There's not much going on. Boredom causes you to drink. You get a couple of drinks in you. You start loving the wife a little bit more than you did 2 hours ago. She's starting to look good now.
Right. Plus
Think
the
about
fact,
it, guys.
Right. Plus, there's a more desire to have children at the time, right? Like they're looking more families. Families didn't move off the farm until the 1900s. More than half of Americans prior to the 1900s were farmers. So you're still looking for kids. I mean, when you're looking for kids, partners are wanting to have sex more often.
John, good call. Thanks for making it tonight. I appreciate you bringing that up here. And is he on to something? The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Is sex just not as good as digital entertainment? It's Free Talk Live.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. $39.95 and free economy shipping. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter. Get your Bug Assault today.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you AMP Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless free market non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. Well, according to the news here, Mark, I did finally look into this, and it says on multiple different sources, young Americans having less sex. So not only are they having fewer babies.
This is news?
To me, it is. Right. I mean, I'd heard about it in Japan. I'd heard about it with teenagers.
No. I mean, not is this news to you. I mean, is this news? Because
this is what we've been talking about.
The thing that is not news.
Okay, well, it's news to me, and it's the thing we've been talking about on the air.
Not
and I
to
was
say that we're not talking about it.
And I was wondering aloud in the last segment whether or not this was the case. So I went and I found out, according to the internet, it is the case that young people are having less sex. So you had started out the show, Mark, by saying that young people are having fewer babies, and this is a deliberate decision to, for various different reasons that you went through a list of. Essentially, it boils down to they just don't feel like they can afford it, and or they want more free time, or there's a few different reasons out there, but money seemed to be a big concern.
Well, wait, you have to go back a little further than this. I have an overarching theme on Free Talk Live, which is humans don't know what motivates them. Remember, Henry Ford said, if I'd asked people what they wanted, they'd have said faster horses.
Wait, so are you saying this whole study is just poppycock?
Of course it is. People don't know why they're not having children necessarily. Okay,
children are either accidental or they're purposeful.
And how many of them are accidental and how many are purposeful?
That's a good question.
Right, it's a really good question.
Half and half?
Ian. When you're in, I personally know a couple who had 2 children.
Yeah,
and then had another child who was, let's call it a surprise. I don't like this accidental term. A surprise. So they decided, it appears as though they decided they like them in pairs. They decided to have another to go along with.
Okay.
So that is 2 children. 4? Right. They have 4 in pairs.
One was the surprise.
At the very least, one of them was a surprise, and that means that, do you see how these things snowball into numbers very quickly?
Yeah.
When you're in a marriage and you somebody gets pregnant, you decide, do we want to keep it or not? And most people in a marriage are going to keep it because the reasons for not keeping it aren't there as often. So, yeah, you have to have sex to have the accident.
Right. That's what I'm saying here is it looks like, not only the people who are deciding to have children or not have children is, their decisions are going down to have them, but also those sexual encounters in general are fewer, and so therefore the accidental babies would be fewer as well.
Right.
So we can tell you more about that, but first we're going to your calls and thoughts here. The toll-free number, if you want to join us, is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got Skype, Skype username LRN.FM, and Bitcoin.com wants you to know about Save It Purse that is now taking Bitcoin Cash. This is a big deal. From what I understand, they've also gotten rid of their shapeshift options, so you can only use either BTC or Bitcoin Cash to deposit into SaveItPurse.com, which is a big deal because people have been wanting Bitcoin Cash because the old Bitcoin, it's slow. Its fees are higher than Bitcoin Cash. So you can understand why people would want to use Bitcoin Cash instead. And now SaveItPurse.com has fully embraced deposits with Bitcoin Cash. So make sure you check that out. If you don't know what SaveItPurse.com is, we've talked about them for years here on Free Talk Live. You must be new to the show. It is a way for you to save 20, 25 or more % off, or less. It's up to you. If you want to save 10%, you can, but why would you do that when you can save 20?
We put up 15%, my wife and I, last week on something that a purchase that we were making through Amazon. 15%. It was snatched up before I could tell her, raise that to 20 so we could save
Somebody already grabbed it.
Somebody had already grabbed it. So if you, basically a 15% discount on everything at Amazon is
That's a bare minimum,
using their system.
Yeah. So SaveItPurse.com.
20% is something you can certainly get in a day.
Yeah, you got to go check this out. It really works. We've been using it for years. It sounds too good to be true. I know. 20% off sounds ridiculous, but it's real, it's true, and you can go learn more.
There's a catch.
Yeah.
The catch is you got to use Bitcoin
or Bitcoin Cash now.
Well, Bitcoin Cash. It's all Bitcoin.
Not the same thing.
It's not the same thing. It's all Bitcoin. And you've got to use that, and at the same time, you have to spend a little extra time when you put through the purchase. So
go to SaveItPurse.com as we continue here. Larry's on the line, listening in Indianapolis to WIBC FM. Hello, Larry.
How you doing, boy?
Hey, what's on your mind tonight?
Hey, listen, your topic tonight, why would you go out and get married and have kids, knowing what you know is going on today with the Me Too movement and all of the pornography that's going on, and just why would you do it? They now in this country have an active campaign to stop all marriages because the state ends up taking all the production of marriage anyway into their custody and their guardianship and sell it for a profit. So why would you even get involved with that if you don't have the money?
How does the state take all production of marriage and sell it at a profit? I don't really understand what you mean by that.
Do you think that the foster care system is done for free, is operated in the state for free?
No.
Each of those kids that go into foster care, the federal government sends block grant money to the state.
Yeah.
In some cases, I know foster care parents who are dealing with therapeutic kids, the state gets $15,000 a month from the federal government to administer these kids, and the foster parent gets $5,000.
Yeah, there's no doubt there's a bunch of bureaucracy surrounding foster care. I mean, I agree with you there. I don't know if that's exactly what you had described earlier, but okay. Well, let's just move on.
I'm doing, but
so is your concern that we are bringing this, is your concern here that parents should not bring children into kind of a society in which there's a Me Too movement, meaning that people could be molested or accused of molestation?
No, I'm not going there. No, that's what I'm not talking about. You misconstrued.
That's why I'm asking you questions to understand.
Is poor people, right? Poor people that don't have any money to defend themselves. If they have or produce a child, the first thing the state does is step in and see how they can profit off of that thing. Just like at the institution of slavery, that turns out to be the state's most profitable industry right there. Their domestic institution of chattelizing the productions of marriages that don't have the money to defend themselves are vulnerable people, because they know they can take one person, like some fellow boy or something, if they get him when he's first born. They can flip him to foster care. They can flip him to the doctors. They can flip him to one foster care home after another. And in the state of Indiana,
sure, the more children they can institutionalize, the bigger their budgets.
The more money.
That's right.
The more money. No, not budget, but the more money they get from the federal government to provide
budget
for these kids.
That's their budget. They get that money from the federal government and from the state government.
From the state, but we need to look at things for what they really are. If you don't have any money, you might as well go get your vasectomies or get sterilized.
I agree.
Now.
I totally agree with that.
If you have any kids, they're going to be turned into money maker for the state.
Yeah, basically, people are serfs for the government. Thank you for the call, Larry.
Right.
The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. I agree. If you can't afford to have kids, go ahead, spend the $500, $700 or whatever it's going to cost you to get that vasectomy, because it's going to pay for itself.
There's
real
a government
fast.
program that I wouldn't mind paying for.
What, people getting free vasectomies?
Free vasectomies, free tubal ligations. Right.
Mm-hmm. You donate to that.
I'm in. But I was looking at the statistics here, and I'm surprised that there isn't more of a chasm in childbirth by income. The lowest, which is under $10,000, household income under $10,000 per year, 64.74%. So under 66 per 1,000 women. Number of births per 1,000 women.
That's the number of women in that bracket that have had children?
That's births per 1,000 women in 2015. And then it's only 43, so it's 64 versus 43. 43 is for 200,000 or more household income. I would have expected a much larger chasm between rich and poor and the amount of babies they're having.
All right, there's more on the way here. The toll-free number, if you want to join us on the radio, 855-450-FREE like freedom. Live Saturday edition of Free Talk Live continues in moments.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynavite.
Pick up 2 bottles of Super Mega Fish Oil.
Get the 3rd bottle free. Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Dogs love it. Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Good technology is good, but the philosophy behind the tech is important. And Zencash was made by voluntarists with the ideas of voluntary interaction being embedded into the white paper. With no central authority or single point of failure, Zencash is more resilient than a traditional corporation. Everyone has an equal opportunity to participate in decision-making, which empowers stakeholders and makes Zencash less susceptible to third-party influence. And Zencash allows for secure private transactions. Learn more at zencash.com.
With uncertain times in the United States, it's only prudent to consider storing precious metals in a safe place outside of our borders. At Miles Franklin Limited, we have done just that for you. Partnered with the most respected storage company in the industry, Miles Franklin Limited is proud to offer the only fully insured private safe deposit box system in North America, held in Vancouver and Toronto. Send us your previously purchased precious metals, or have one of our brokers help you purchase something new. Questions? Please call one of our experienced brokers at 866-485-4346. Solid foundational storage partnered with the most respected name in security. That's Miles Franklin Limited. Celebrating our 29th year in business without ever receiving a customer complaint. Call us at 866-485-4346. Again, that's 866-485-4346. Miles Franklin Limited. A name you can trust.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agrishosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agris Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agrishosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agrishosting.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us on the radio here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
Skype username's LRN.FM. And we've got a Discord on-air call-in line room. What is Discord? It's a chat server. And is free to use. And it's there 24/7. It's got different channels, so you can talk on the Free Talk Live channel, for instance, during the show. It's a good time to find folks in there live. But then before, during, and after the show, there's other channels there that you can check out, like cryptocurrency discussion or video games, different chat channels there for you. And there's text chat, and there's also voice chat channels. Sometimes after our show's over, some of our listeners will gather together in the voice chat channel to talk about whatever it is they want. So it's there. It's free. You can download it there's an app you can download, or you can just use their web version on any web browser. It's up to you. Just go to discord.lrn.fm. But there are apps, of course, for Android, for iOS, for Linux, for Mac, for Windows. So whatever operating system you're on, and more than one of them. So if you want to have Discord on your laptop, you want to have it on your smartphone, your desktop, you can have it in all those places. And, get involved with other Free Talk Live listeners. Some of the hosts are also there frequently. I'm in there all the time over at discord.lrn.fm. In fact, we're going to go to that Discord call-in line here in just a moment. But first to the phones, where Jim is on the line in Virginia, listening to WNIS. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, well, I have one as an observation and one as, I guess, kind of a theory.
Okay.
The first is, I would say, birth control, say something like the Mirena or something like that, where a female can have it installed in her area for like 5 years, I believe.
Oh, you're talking about...
have to worry about...
Yeah, that must be a brand name of the intrauterine device, the IUD.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So there's, I think protection's probably a little better for the surprise baby. And then I have two boys that have one at 20 and another one around 17. And they have a group of friends, and there's only two in that group that have girlfriends. And here's where the theory comes in.
17 years old. They're 17 years old, and there's two of them in a group. How large has girlfriends?
I'd say within the group, there's probably about 18 to 20.
Whoa.
I have there's a 20-year-old and a 17-year-old are my two.
All right. So
then they have a group of 20 friends that kind of hang out.
So you're saying empirical evidence here. Your observation is 1 in 10 teenage boys has a girlfriend. Horrifying. Go ahead.
And the one that has a girlfriend has a flip phone, and the other one does not have a PlayStation.
So what you're suggesting there is if everyone
else has smartphones and PlayStation.
It's interesting. Jim, thanks for the call tonight, man. I appreciate hearing from you. Let's go to somebody who is a millennial. She is Alaloka on the line here on our Discord on-air call-in line room. Hello, Alaloka, calling from Orlando.
Hey guys, I just wanted to give you my perspective as a 26-year-old female with a child.
And you're
I don't know if
married,
you guys-
correct?
Yes, I am
Yep.
married.
Okay.
So I don't know if you guys want to interview me, or I can just tell you like what my experiences are as a married mom with a kid.
Well, what were your thoughts as we were reading through these,
These are reasons for listeners just tuning in. We started the show out with reasons why millennials generally are less inclined to have children or not at all have kids, and kind of going through that list. Did any of that jive with you?
I mean, it's kind of the opposite for me, but I can say that a lot of people are in that situation.
Which situation?
They don't want to get married and they don't want to have kids. I know pretty much everyone I know still lives with their parents, and they're 27, 28.
Everyone you know. So it's
Basically,
it's
everyone-
harder for you to think about the people who aren't living with your parents.
Yeah, I don't even know
man.
anyone.
Hokey smokes.
Well, like you said before, Mark, on the air, sorry to interrupt you, but you said when you were living with your mom when you got out of prison,
like 28, yep.
you didn't really want to bring girls home there either, just
No,
because
it's
mom's
uncomfortable.
house.
I mean, if it hadn't have been for a sex drive, I'd have stayed there. It's awesome, right? The lady will do your laundry, and she goes to the grocery store and does shopping. It's like having a wife without all the complaining.
Anyway, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I was just saying, like, it is very expensive to have a kid.
Mhm.
I was making a lot of money before, and I had to leave that job, and I came to the realization that I have to move back. I didn't move back with my mother-in-law, but I had to move back to Orlando because it was just so expensive, and my mother-in-law actually takes care of her for half the cost
Right.
of daycare. I mean, I don't want to say I'm ashamed of having a kid, but I feel bad sometimes because I feel like everyone around me still have that early 20s mentality, and I have to be the grown-up. I don't regret having a kid. I'm happy that I had one. That was a choice. I planned to have a child.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to say, the mentality that I have now as a guy that's got a 10-year-old, the mentality I have about life feels more mature than what I experienced in myself prior to that, and what I get to see on a day-to-day basis with my single male friends.
Now, are you calling it quits after one, or are you planning on having more than one?
Oh, yeah, it's over at one. I feel like it's so hard to get back, like, time, I guess. If I keep having more, it's going to be harder for me to enjoy the rest of my life, I can say. Not in a bad way, but, like, to do things, with me and my husband and going out and traveling and stuff. Like, as of now, I'm pretty limited.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Got to bring the kid with you.
And let's not forget the cost of every child. There was some study done, and I don't believe these numbers.
It was like a Lamborghini, right?
Yeah, like each kid is basically the cost of a fine Italian sports car. I don't believe those numbers for a second. You can basically find
That's if you don't
friends.
include college, right?
College is extraordinarily expensive.
Because then that's another sports car.
But that
on
was
top.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
That study came out. You start looking at clothes. Look, not everybody's shopping at Baby Gap. We got basically all of Jack's
Hand-me-downs.
clothes for free
Yeah.
for the first 6 or 7 years,
Sure.
and probably could handle this far. He's a little rougher. They're a little rougher on clothes as they get older, and obviously you got to buy shoes. But there's car seats and cribs and all these things that you can buy if you want to have the matching sets and all that stuff in the room. Yeah, you can pay money for that, or you can get it free from somebody who doesn't need it anymore.
Ala Loca, have you noticed since you made the comment that your 27-year-old friends or thereabouts are basically living at home almost to every single one of them with their parents? Are you also noticing what the studies are showing here, that your friends are not in relationships and not having sex?
Maybe they have more flings. They're definitely not in relationships. They're definitely going out on Tinder and looking for guys and girls. I can attest to that.
So the hookups culture.
Yeah.
Well, what about this? I mean, the claim is that flings are worth talking about. Like you may chat with that about your friends, but you're not telling your friends how often you're having sex. Presumably, if you're married, that's 2.7 times per week or whatever the average number is. I don't know.
And isn't that true for men, but not necessarily for women? Don't women gossip more about sex? Is that true or not?
I would say yes. I gossip a lot about that.
Yeah, told you, Mark.
Fine. I'm just saying that I'll bet you that as a married person, you're having sex more often than your friends, because flings are they're socially damaging. They're physically dangerous. There's all kinds of problems with flings.
Yeah, I could say that. That's true. I am having more relations with my husband.
There you go.
Ala Loca, anything else you want to share tonight with us?
No, that's all, I guess.
Thanks for calling on our Discord on-air call-in line room there, and that will be available for you shortly if you want to jump in there. She sounded almost like she was in the studio with us here. It's really great quality. Go to discord.lrn.fm and you just jump right in to that very top room.
Or you can just use Skype, and our username is lrn.fm.
You could, but Skype is a lot harder to sign up with if you're new to Skype. So if you already have Skype, then it's easy enough. But if you're new, it's a lot easier to get onto Discord. And then you can chat with other listeners, too. Let's go to Michael. He's in Virginia listening to WNIS. Hello, Michael.
Hello. I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
And you can both think about it for a week, and we'll talk about it next week.
Okay.
But
planning ahead.
Here's the question.
Yeah.
If your local police department there in Keene, New Hampshire, were to have in its possession video of a terrorist recruitment initiation ceremony which occurred on property used by middle school students in large numbers, would you want that video given to the FBI?
I want most video released on the internet. I'm just sort of an advocate for freedom in that area. So I guess the FBI could find it.
Right, but I'm saying if the police department had with its own cameras made that video of a known terrorist recruiter and a known imam conducting a ceremony with more than a dozen Muslim men initiating a terrorist who will either perform an act...
I don't know. I'm willing to talk about it, though, now. More coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
Heart-related health problems affect millions of people each year. Maybe you're one of the many who suffer from issues related to angina pain, high blood pressure, congestive heart failure, unbalanced cholesterol, irregular heartbeat, or clogged arteries. There is a solution that doesn't involve expensive prescription drugs that only mask the problem and leave you with horrible side effects. If you are ready to live your life free of sickness, pain, and fear, live your life with increased vitality, energy, and youthfulness, and experience your body healing itself, then you're ready for Heart and Body Extract from Healthy Hearts Club. Here is what one satisfied customer had to say about Heart and Body Extract regarding his angina pain.
I haven't had an angina pain since I've been on it. The Heart Body Extract is just so great. I thank God that I was led to this product that's doing so much for me and that can do so much for other people.
Call to order your 2-month supply of Heart and Body Extract today. Call 1-866-295-5305 or go to hbextract.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com. The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love. But make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, July 7th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.04 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,255 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $20, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,566. Antiwar.com reports on Friday afternoon, Syrian rebels confirmed that a deal was reached with Russian and Jordanian negotiators to end the offensive in Daraa province and bring the region back under de facto government control. Under the deal, Russian military police will take the border crossings and will guarantee the return of displaced civilians and rebels who want to end their opposition to government rule. The rebels will disarm, but in a series of stages. In addition to ending the Syrian military offensive, the deal also calls for the gradual withdrawal of Syrian army forces from the towns they've taken and to be replaced by local forces who are overseen by Russia. This too is expected to take some time. Those rebels unwilling to resolve their rebel status, for which the Syrian government has been offering broad amnesty, are expected to be transferred north into rebel-held areas there. Once completed, this effectively ends the rebellion across southern Syria. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap and Amazon, at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com. UPI reports federal prosecutors dropped charges Friday against the remaining 38 protesters arrested during President Donald Trump's inauguration, according to court documents. The U.S. Attorney's Office in the District of Columbia made the decision to drop the rioting charges after 21 people pled guilty. Police initially arrested and charged 234 people with rioting. Prosecutors dropped cases against 129 people in January in order to focus attention on more serious offenses. 6 defendants who went to trial were acquitted of charges, and prosecutors said they'd be unable to secure convictions for dozens of others. Called out for individual acts of vandalism, violence, and destruction, prosecutors allege the protesters engaged in black bloc tactics on January 20th, 2017 during Trump's swearing-in, causing damage to vehicles and property. 6 police officers were hurt during the protest as they exchanged flashbang explosives with protesters hurling rocks and firecrackers at them. Police said the protest resulted in more than $100,000 in damage across the District of Columbia. A statement from the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington, D.C. said in light of results in the cases brought to trial, however, the U.S. Attorney's Office has now moved to dismiss charges against the 38 remaining defendants in this matter. Defense attorneys said prosecutors overreached in most of the cases, saying their clients were peaceful protesters caught up in arrest of the more violent rioters. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system and to fully capitalize on that decision in their fundraising efforts. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy, maximizing the potential cross-promotion of all our clients and commercial partners. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com. Reuters reports a federal judge ordered on Friday that the U.S. government must provide a list by Saturday evening of the estimated 100 children under the age of 5 who were separated from their parents when entering the United States. Judge Dana Sabraw also ordered the government to explain by Saturday its expectation for reuniting each of those children with their parents by the end of Tuesday. Sabraw last month issued the reunification order, which also set a July 26 deadline for more than 2,000 children to be reunited with their parents. The U.S. government attorneys said they may fail to meet these deadlines due to delays in confirming family relationships, but Sabraw declined to extend them without more information. The judge said, "What I'm contemplating is that the government provides a list to plaintiffs' counsel by tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific, with the identities of the children." He also asked the government to provide the ACLU, which brought the class action case, with expectations for meeting the deadline for each of the children on the list. The judge scheduled a status conference for Monday at 10 a.m. and said he hopes the government and the ACLU can reach agreement about any need to extend the reunification deadline. The government said in court documents that it was particularly struggling to connect children with their parents who were released from detention. ACLU attorney Lee Gallant said organizations would jump at the chance to help connect the parents with their children. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
A job applicant totally nails an interview with the person who will make his life a living hell for the next 5 years. And adjusting several sliders on a recording studio's mixing console pays off big time. This is the Onion Week in Review. This week, a study published by researchers at Johns Hopkins University revealed a direct correlation between breastfeeding and knowing exactly what's best for other people at all times. Overwhelming evidence indicated that the moment mothers begin breastfeeding, they develop a highly honed sense of what is wrong with others' approach to life, and were able to loudly enumerate those faults with total confidence in their accuracy. Researchers noted that the practice greatly boosted a young mother's immunity to the viewpoints of others. And in this week's Tech Report, a startup is very casual about its dress code and benefits. In other news, the Secretary of Interior says knocking down the Rocky Mountains could really open up the nation. And a woman is not going to let her husband of 60 years drag her into death at the same time.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of the program here, live Saturday edition of the show. As always, we'll take your calls about whatever's on your mind. In the last hour, we were talking about young people in the United States, and not just the U.S. Apparently, Japan is seeing a cooling down of relationships and fewer people getting involved in even having them. At all. So we're seeing some of that in the United States. We can get into more on that. What started the whole conversation was whether or not young people are having children less often these days. Turns out they are having less kids, or fewer, I guess, kids.
Fewer kids.
In that case.
Less progeny.
Right.
Fewer kids.
It's Ian and Mark here in the studio with you. We're going to go back to your phone calls and thoughts, but I do want to welcome our brand newest radio affiliate. Finally, that we can officially say, welcome to WRKO.
Boom!
The voice of Boston.
Those are some real calls right there.
Yeah, AM 680. Their monster 50,000 watts. They don't cut power at night, buddy. They are 50,000 watts all the time.
Is that a Clear Channel station? Now, I don't mean the company Clear Channel. I mean,
well, it actually is owned by iHeartMedia, which formerly was known as Clear
But is
Channel.
it on a Clear Channel?
I don't know what the definition of that is.
50,000. Well, a Clear Channel means that there's nothing in the United States that's on that channel. It's
really
50,000 watts on the AM. AM is going to be the only thing that's on a Clear Channel. Okay.
Nowhere, anywhere in the United States on that same channel?
That's correct.
I can't believe there's no other 680s anywhere in the United States.
Well, I guess I can look that up right here.
I would have figured it had something to do with some sort of distance range or whatever. But either way, it's a monster radio station, and so welcome aboard. Boston listeners, you guys have actually been hearing us for actually several months, but it's now an official thing, and so I'm happy to welcome you guys.
North American Clear Channel frequency.
Uh-huh. You're saying it is a Clear Channel?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. WRKO, it's a big station. We're happy to be on board. That may be our biggest station ever.
It's as far as calls go. Yeah,
we've had great calls before. WFLA, for instance, in Tampa Bay. I mean, that's a huge
not
station,
on 50,000
but
watts.
it's not 50,000 watts. They're I think they're 10,000 or something like that. We've got 25,000 watts, I think, on FM in Indianapolis. WIBC, which is also like heritage call letters that go back
IBC,
a long time.
There's the one in Norfolk.
Norfolk's big, yeah, WNIS. I think they might be a 50K. I'm not sure off the top of my head.
But
as far as market size
Indy
is
and
concerned,
Norfolk aren't Boston.
Right. Boston's got to be a top 10, I would think, or at least top 15 market. So anyway, welcome aboard. If you're new to the show,
this is a perfect time to call in and call us Bush League. Right? Like we just added our biggest station. Now you should call in and call us Bush League. Somebody does that at least once a quarter, right? Once a year.
You got to wait because you're actually not listening live. If you're listening in Boston, you're listening a couple hours later because we're live from 7 to 10 at night Eastern time. So if you want to be heard in Boston and you're in Boston, you just got to remember to call next week between whatever hours they're picking up. I think they're taking our second and third hours.
You should make a special effort because Ian's probably never heard a Southie accent.
Really?
Yeah, you probably haven't.
I mean, I live in
no, it's
New
not
England.
the Harvard Yard Parking the Car. No, that's not it.
Okay.
It's a different accent.
What's a Southie accent? Is that like south of Boston?
Right. Yes, it's from South Boston.
Okay.
It is difficult I'm bad enough with the Boston accent. I just can't replicate it. I always end up talking like somebody from New Jersey. It just doesn't work. And with a Southie, it's a different accent.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. And you know, phones are open here every single night. By the way, even if you're not hearing us live or you're only hearing us one night a week on the radio, keep in mind we are doing this show 7 nights a week over at freetalklive.com. So don't miss us there as well. Let's go to your calls and thoughts.
I've got a
here.
list of Clear Channel stations in the United States, and I guess it's about, I'm going to guess, 25 stations total that are on Clear Channels.
Let's go to your calls and thoughts here. Michael's on the line in Virginia. In the very end of the last hour, we took your call, Michael, and you had asked a strange question, and you said we should talk about it next week, but that's generally not how talk radio works. We're going to talk about it right now, but I still don't really know if I understand exactly what you were saying. You had asked about a police department that has some kind of evidence of a terrorist training ritual of some sort happening on property that is normally... like there's middle schoolers there or something. Can you tell me more about what you mean by that? Because I'm a little confused.
Yes, large numbers of middle school students.
But not actually at a middle school.
Well, that's debatable right now. I don't want to go into too much detail. Here's the key.
Is this
point.
a theoretical or is this actually happening?
No, this is actual. I'll tell you where it comes from.
Uh-huh.
When the attack in Parkland, Florida, took place, a number of former intelligence officials got together with major news networks and complained that the FBI is not doing its job. And out of that complaint comes this video from a city, I won't say which city and which state, of an actual recruitment ceremony lasting more than an hour for one of these terrorists to either do a terrorist attack overseas or here in the United States.
Okay, so where was this video filmed?
Again, I won't identify the state and city
So
tonight,
somewhere in the United States.
Yes, but in the future, over Free Talk Live, and this is why I'm calling you, my belief is, as a member of this network of people trying to sharpen our defenses against this kind of thing, my belief is that a show like Free Talk Live is the most powerful instrument that we have for preventing these kinds of attacks.
I don't understand why that would be. I mean, I appreciate you saying that. That's very nice of you. But why would a talk radio program prevent...
Especially if we don't have the information. I mean, if it's interesting what you're saying. It certainly is titillating that there are terrorist cells being formulated right here on American soil, and police aren't doing anything about it in a given geographic area. But I guess my question would be is, if this is all true, why in the world would you tell us where?
Well, because here's what needs to be done. There needs to be a program, a series of programs involving from 7 to 10 radio and television networks to discuss where the failure has been with our counter-terrorist organizations. The 17.
Well, I can tell you where the failure's been, and thank you for the call tonight. The failure is the fact that the government exists and is going over into the Middle East, destroying people's innocent lives and ginning up terrorism as a result of that. That's why you have terrorism. It's because of what the U.S. federal government's foreign policy and military adventurism. I mean, that's why you have this violence. If there is going to be more violence, that's why it's going to happen, and that's why it has happened in the past. And so, of course, when you put the government in charge of anything, generally they're going to screw things up, and so you should expect they're going to screw up whatever investigations into the supposed terrorist activity, or as we've seen with the FBI, they're just going to go ahead and create it, where the FBI just goes and essentially finds a patsy and convinces them to agree to take a bomb that the FBI provides to them into a place that the FBI tells them to go, and it turns out it wasn't actually a real bomb. The FBI was just setting this person up. They otherwise would have had no intention of doing anything like that, but they were basically ginned up into it by undercover FBI informants.
That really doesn't have
agents.
anything to do with what this guy was calling in about. He's calling in about supposedly a real live terrorist indoctrination.
No, but he was complaining because, well, why isn't the government doing as good of a job as he thinks they should do? Well, if they want to do a good job, they should stop going over and creating terrorism in the first place, because anything else is just trying trying to respond to, trying to have this government agency, this bloated, expensive, stupid, slow, you fill in the blank, whichever agency we're talking about, because they're all the same as far as I'm concerned. They're all a bunch of bureaucrats without the right incentives to really, maybe some of them really want to protect people or whatever, but unfortunately they just don't have the right incentives to do that, and they created the problem in the first place. It's their fault.
Well, I think you bring up an interesting point, which is that when you look at terrorism in the United States as it has existed, it has been basically two forms. People who want to see a significantly smaller federal government interference in their lives, so the homegrown small government terrorist, and people who are upset about United States military adventurism in foreign countries.
Yep, that's true.
And so both of those could be laid at the feet of the United States federal government, and it's the growth of government as America's station in the world has become less freer that has caused those problems.
All right, there's more on the way. If you want to bring up whatever's on your mind, we'll talk more about Americans having less sex. It's Free Talk Live.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Imagine this is you. You're working late when you get an alert on your smartphone. Your motion-activated Blink security camera picked up something at home. You pop open your Blink app and see the silhouette of a man peering through your kitchen window. The job of a home security system is to help stop crime. Get 3 Blink cams for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. Blinkprotect.com/FTL to save 15%.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up what you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Live Saturday show with you tonight. It's Ian.
And Mark.
It's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype, so head on over to freetalklive.com. Enjoy the features. Skype, if you want to connect to us there, is username LRN.FM. You do have to send a contact request first. We'll approve you, and you'll be good to go from that point forward. Plus, we've got Discord. The on-air call-in line room is available to you over at discord.lrn.fm. Plenty of ways for you to get on the air with us here tonight.
There's some modern inventions that I think to myself, what do we need this for? There are others that come along into my life where I'm like, yeah, I absolutely did need this. And one of them is my Blink home security system. Because there are times of the day that you simply can't watch doors and windows in your house, that if there's movement, it means something bad's going on, or at least it's something you should pay attention to. And that's what my Blink home security system does. Not only can I tune in any time of the day or night to my Blink home security system, just take a look around, check out any of the cameras that I have set up, and watch the cat walk around or whatever I'm doing. I also get updates. Regular updates if something moves in front of the camera during certain times. I can set the times that I want it to be on. If something moves in at that time, I got it, and it updates me within seconds that has occurred. And I can hear what's going on too. There's a microphone.
It's audio. Yeah, that's true. That's actually pretty rare in security systems, by the way.
No contract, no subscription. It's surprisingly low cost. You purchase one time, you buy the system, and it's so much. You get so much more than the other security companies out there. And you just visit blinkprotect.com, and you'll get 3 Blink cams for way less than the other guys charge, plus an extra 15% off.
I was impressed. I was expecting it to be not that great for the price, and I was really blown away by not only how easy it was to install, but the quality.
Yep, it's easy, it's fast, and it's great quality. Blinkprotect.com/FTL. That's how you get the 15%. Blinkprotect.com/FTL. And thanks for everybody who's bought these. We sell the heck out of them. Libertarians love security, and blinkprotect.com/FTL will provide you great security for your home.
Let's go to your calls and thoughts. Grand Champion calling from Massachusetts, listening online. Hello, Grand Champion.
Hey, guys. You're in for a real treat tonight because you happen to be speaking with the Grand Champion of Daryl Perry's pentathlon.
Daryl Perry's pentathlon. Daryl Perry is a co-host here on Free Talk Live. He's just not on Saturday nights, so many of our listeners may or may not be familiar with him if you're listening on the radio. Pentathlon? He's got his own event now?
Well, it's the thing he did at Fork Fest, that fundraiser thing.
Oh, the beer mile. Was it the beer mile?
Well, that was part of it, because there was 4 other events.
Oh, I see.
But the beer mile, yes, was part of it.
Right, so we talked about the beer mile quite a bit, which, as I understood it, was you had to run a lap, which is a quarter mile, drink a beer, basically pound a beer back, and then you had to empty the can over your head to make sure that it was actually empty, that you weren't BSing, and then you have to run another quarter mile and then drink another beer and then do it 2 more times. So you would finish by drinking a 4th beer, and I would imagine be a little tipsy at that point. How'd it go?
Great. Again, I beat the pants off of everybody. Now, granted, I was the only one to actually run said beer mile. However,
wasn't it pouring down rain?
It was pouring rain. Yeah.
Afterwards, this took place before the rain.
I see, but it was threatening to pour down rain, and so that might have kept some people away.
Yeah, indeed. But what I really wanted to talk about was the automation. Okay, so I hear a lot of times people talk about how automation is going to come around and, it's going to take everybody's jobs and blah, blah, blah. Well, I personally work in the field of automation. my job is to go in to a certain area, mostly distribution centers, and do what everybody's doing by hand and completely automate it. Now, what happens is every single time we do indeed, quote unquote, take people's jobs. Okay, so the person who's taking this box and throwing it in this bin or whatever over and over again, night after night, that job no longer exists. But what happens is by the time we leave there, now that company is producing so much more,
right?
They've actually had to hire people.
Right.
And they have to hire extra people to deal with the extra output. And now that same person who was doing that job that sucked is doing a job that sucks, a little bit less.
Right, sucks less.
And getting paid more.
But wait, why wouldn't you be able to just automate these new jobs?
Eventually that'll happen. But when that happens, then you're going to create other jobs. Because that's the thing. Like a lot of times these companies, we go and we did one for Amazon. And all the current employees were talking to us about, you're taking our jobs and blah, blah, blah. Completely oblivious to the fact that Amazon was not only increasing at that facility their warehouse space, they were also increasing, spaces in their break rooms and their bathrooms and all that stuff. There was a reason for that.
They're expecting to hire people.
Right.
Absolutely.
Let's not forget that employment, lowest employment numbers in like forever just came out this week. So, I mean, I'm not too worried about people's jobs. What's happening is people's jobs are changing, and people's jobs have always changed. People aren't losing their jobs to automation. People are getting different jobs because, the crappiest of work has been incrementally sent off to be done by machines.
Well, this is one of the things that we were talking about the other night during one of our weekday shows this week, where Richard Branson and Bill Gates, all these rich billionaire types, are the ones who are out there propagating this idea. And they should know better, you would think, because they got wealthy presumably by creating businesses and hiring people or whatever, making things more efficient. But you think they would know better? But no, they're out there saying, no, you Americans are going to lose your jobs. Automation's going to take all your jobs. And it just seems to me what you're saying is true, Mark, that when you automate a workplace, that frees up that human labor to do something else. The idea that people aren't going to come up with new ideas for what to do just seems to fly contrary to human nature. We're here to do and to create and to be a part of something, not to do nothing.
If you lay stagnant, I think that over time labor becomes less and less valuable. But ultimately, if you continue to learn, you continue to get better, you continue to have the right attitude when you come to work, I think you're going to probably be just fine.
So, Grand Champion, thanks for taking people's jobs and making them better. Appreciate hearing from you tonight with that, and congrats on your win. We'll hope to see you next year at Forkfest. He was talking about the decentralized camping event that happens in New Hampshire. It's a libertarian decentralized camping festival called Forkfest. This year was its second year, and I suspect there will be a third one next year. We've got some potential dates that have already kind of been tentatively announced. And again, it's hard to really nail anything down when there's no actual organizers of this event. Just some dates and a location. It's going to be next year. I actually don't have them in front of me, but you can go to forkfest.party. It's essentially like the same week as it was this year, sort of toward the end of June. You can go to forkfest.party. That's Forkfest, forkfest.party, and you can learn more about the event there. We expect to be there again because it was a lot of fun this time around, and the event grew by like 3 times the amount of attendees this year, and that's not including the wedding that happened that probably added another 2x on the number of attendees there.
Yeah.
There's more coming up here. This is Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com. Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to goberkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. goberkey.com.
A new trend in offices across the country, more and more people are switching to fetal position desks so that they can curl up in a ball on the floor while they work. Aaron Vaughn has a story.
The human body isn't meant to sit at a desk for 6 or 7 hours. The natural position, especially in the workplace, is to shut down completely, return to a womb-like state, and rock back and forth to soothe yourself.
Fetal position desks, which are even popping up in offices like Google and Facebook, come in a variety of shapes and sizes. Some have adjustable height so you can cower underneath them, while more expensive options include a warm, pulsating blanket for workers to wrap themselves in to feel calm. But many people are making their own.
I've rigged this up so I can type comfortably and my arms won't get tired. Plus, it's got speakers so I can listen to a comforting voice saying shh over and over again.
I've tried a fetal position desk myself, and I can say it's a great way to get through the f***ing day.
Thanks, Aaron. I hate my job.
This is the Onion News Network.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial toll-free. Join us on the radio here. The number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And also want to make sure you know over at freetalklive.com about all the cool features that we have, including our webcam. You can watch and listen to the show by going to cam.freetalklive.com. You'll find our Twitch cam feed embedded into the page. We are still on YouTube, but the Twitch feed is a higher quality HD resolution, and it looks great, and it sounds great, and it's free to watch over at cam.freetalklive.com, or just jump on right into our Twitch channel directly at twitch.lrn.fm. Make sure you give us a follow on there. That way, if you've got the Twitch app installed or you've got your email notifications turned on via your Twitch account, you will get updates whenever we go live, which, of course, is the same time every single night, 7 nights a week, but it's nice to get a little reminder. It's nice to get a reminder about that, and following us on Twitch will allow you to do that at twitch.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a Amazon Prime subscriber, you can hook us up with your free Twitch subscription, which gets LRN.FM, which is the Liberty Radio Network, a little bit of a spiff from Amazon, basically. So right now, your Amazon Prime subscriptions all going to Amazon. If you want to direct a couple bucks of it over to us, then you can do that by subscribing through what they call Twitch Prime. And there's instructions on our Twitch page. Just scroll down a little below the video, and you'll find those instructions there at twitch.lrn.fm. Let's go to Vernon, and we can talk more about young people in America having less sex and why that is. Vernon, you're on Free Talk Live, calling from New
Orleans.
Orleans.
Actually calling about your very original topic about going to college, I believe, in the last hour.
It was an earlier topic. Yeah, please, go ahead.
I wanted to comment on why I went to college. I wanted to go because I didn't want a little piece of paper to hold me up from getting a job that I really didn't need a piece of paper for. But there are so many jobs out there that I could do, but I have to have that piece of paper, and I didn't want that to limit my ability to make twice, if not three times, as much money as I would if I didn't have the piece of paper. Now, I'll admit that college taught me how to think, it taught me how to learn, and taught me how to research. But as far as the actual skills, and I graduated with a computer science degree, the stuff that I learned is out of date. And so I've had to keep myself going and keep myself relevant. And really, everything I taught myself, I did learn a few things about software engineering and whatnot, but for the most part, that's the reason I went to college. And so I understand
the reason you went to college,
college
was to get the piece of paper. The reason you went to college was to get the piece of paper to help you get a job, is what you're saying.
There you go.
Well,
but I wanted a job that required the piece of paper, because those jobs that require the piece of paper pay a lot better than those that don't.
So, as a software engineer, did you find that the what you learned in college was up to date when you went to get a job, or did you have to learn something before you got the first job?
It was interesting. The approach they actually took wasn't to necessarily focus on the software at the time, but to really teach you concepts like programming, the basics of programming, if then, functions and whatnot, and then even object-oriented language, and then take those and kind of learn how to keep yourself relevant as time progresses. And now this was 10 years ago. And at the time, though, yes, the technology that I was using, and this was at a state school, it was relevant, and it was definitely the latest and greatest. Now, I did take one class where we were using a much older operating system than I was comfortable with, but their excuse was that they hadn't had time to write the book for the newer operating system. But it really didn't matter, because there weren't that many changes. It was like Windows 7 and XP or something, I don't know. But yeah, I just wanted to point out that even though a lot of people can become entrepreneurs and start their own businesses and that's awesome, having that piece of paper really can enable you to get a lot of different jobs. And like I said, I've had those jobs where I have a piece of paper, and what I learned in college has absolutely nothing to do with that job, yet I'm pulling $55,000 a year because I have the piece of paper. And if I hadn't had the piece of paper and I tried to apply for that job, they would have said, nope, sorry, we're not interested because you don't have the piece of paper.
Really? You couldn't get the Microsoft certification or whatever and get that kind of money?
They want a bachelor's degree in addition to the certifications. And they really don't.
I got to take your word for it.
I've been looking at, they care about the certifications, but for some reason, having a bachelor's degree outweighs having the certifications.
Okay.
And the certifications really go to those that have an associate's degree. And if you have an associate's, it really doesn't pay as well as a bachelor's. So it's kind of strange.
Okay, so first off, my advice to young people, because these are the people you're talking to when you talk about a degree. My advice to young people would be, don't go straight from school into college, because you don't even know what you want yet. Unless you do.
That's true for a lot of them.
Unless you do know what you want.
A lot of college students change their major more than once.
If you really know what you want, then by God, give it a shot. But the vast majority of people out there don't work in the career that they got a degree in. And the second thing I would say is that most of the jobs out there that are looking for a degree, period, are often government jobs, and it's soul-sucking, mindless work. You probably don't want to do it anyway.
That's true. My advice would be don't go out of state, and I know that the state is evil in this show, but my advice, take advantage of the government subsidized education that you can, and try to get out of as little debt as possible.
Thanks
Absolutely.
for the call tonight. Good advice.
Start in community college, then go to a state college would be my advice if that's what you're going to do.
It's good advice for people who want to go to college, but I would say, yeah, like Mark, you're totally right. People should not jump right into this. They really need to seriously consider as to whether or not this is necessary. I don't know people like him, and I know a lot of people in tech, a lot of people in IT. I don't know very many of them who I can think of, at least, that actually went to school for it. Yep. They went to get certified and they got jobs and they proved themselves and moved up the ranks or whatever.
If you are going to be a college professor, you're going to need degrees to do it. I don't recommend it because that's an area that's going to implode.
That's also not an easy job to get, period.
If you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to need a degree. You're going to need a JD. If you're going to be an engineer, you're going to need the degree. If you're going to be a doctor, obviously you're going to need the degree. There are some careers that you're going to need a degree for. The vast majority of degrees that they have out there, in my opinion, aren't worth much.
Story from Politico magazine, Politico.com, earlier this year. So this ties into the discussion we were having in the last hour about young people and having less, not only fewer children, but less sex as well. According to the story at Politico, Robin Beck reporting that Happy Valentine's Day. 50 years after the sexual revolution, sex in America is in decline. Americans are having less sex. The share of Americans who say they've never once had sex in the past year is rising. And perhaps most surprising, this revolution in sexual behavior is being led by the young. Although this sexual counter-revolution began before the Me Too movement arose in response to sexual abuse, misconduct, and insensitivity of men ranging from Harvey Weinstein to Bill O'Reilly, the cultural outrage over men's bad behavior is likely to accelerate this trend. American adults, on average, are having sex about 9 fewer times per year in the 2010s compared to adults in the late 1990s, according to a team of scholars led by psychologist Jean Twenge. That's a 14% decline in sexual frequency. Likewise, the share of adults who reported having sex not at all in the past year rose from 18% in the late 90s to 22% from 2014 to 2016. According to our analysis of the General Social Survey, which is fielded every 2 years and directed by the University of Chicago, largely nationally representative and federally funded survey of American adults covering a range of attitudes and behaviors. Similar trends are apparent among younger men and women. In the early 2000s, about 73% of adults between the ages of 18 and 30 had sex at least twice a month. That fell to 66% in the period from 2014 to 2016, according to the analysis of the GSS. Other 18 to 30-year-olds aren't doing it at all. From 2002 to 2004, 12% of them reported having no sex in the preceding year. A decade later, during the 2 years from 2014 to 2016, that number rose to 18%. That's a 50% increase in that.
No, that's almost 20% of young Americans, young adult Americans,
18 to 30,
didn't have sex in the last year
at all. Correct. Sex is
a lot of nuns out there.
Sex is also down among teenagers, which we'd reported on this previously. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reported a decline in the share of high school students who said they'd ever had sex, from 47% in 2005 to 41% 10 years later.
I don't think anybody's weeping over that. Nobody wants high schoolers to have sex.
Sexual activity among teenagers
high schoolers.
fell the most between 2013 and 2015, about the same time that sex took a real dip among the 18 to 30-year-old adults. So they're seeing similar trends in the different age ranges of young adults and teenagers. More coming up here in moments, but the question is why? And we'll address that on the way. It's Free Talk Live.
Imagine this is you. You're working late when you get an alert on your smartphone. Your motion-activated Blink security camera picked up something at home. You pop open the Blink app and see the silhouette of a man peering through your kitchen window. You dial 911 and the police roll. The job of a home security system is to help stop crime, which is why I chose Blink. Get 3 Blink cams for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
This is Fred.
Hi, I'm Fred.
Fred's a repeater.
I tend to repeat.
Fred has a business.
I do have a business.
And a problem. Fred repeats the same tired advertising over and over, and now it doesn't work.
Over and over.
But Fred is about to see a vision.
I'm seeing a vision.
Advertising on the Genesis Communications Network is the smart way for Fred to reach his potential customers with the most affordable national advertising rates, period. Get started today with GCN, the Genesis Communications Network. Just email advertise@gcnlive.com.
Kiss your credit card debt goodbye. I'm Pharmacist Keith. Dr. Wallach, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy, and myself want to show you how to achieve financial peace, creating an extra income that will last for years to come by joining Dr. Wallach's crusade, spreading his message of better health. To learn more, visit radio.recordedvideo.com. That's radio.recordedvideo.com, radio.recordedvideo.com, or call 866-257-3105 for a recorded message.
Excuse me, is this where I get a license to start a new business?
I wouldn't be hasty. You have to get a license to go out of business, too, you know.
Oh, well, look, I've invented this little anti-gravity machine, see?
Oh, is that why you're walking 2 inches above the floor?
Oh, yes, it's very comfortable. It saves on shoe leather.
Yeah, well, you have to fill out these forms and report to the Human Services Department of Manpower Orientation and register with the Fair Employment Practice Commission, the Wage and Hour Division of the Employment Standards Administration, the State Sales and Income Tax Division, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Social Security Administration of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, and, of course, OSHA.
OSHA? I thought that was a little town in Wisconsin.
You'll find out. Say, floating around like that could be dangerous. Have you checked with the Consumer Product Safety Commission?
Well, not yet.
Come to think of it, you actually are flying, aren't you? Look, you need to go over to the Federal Aviation Administration and the Transportation...
It's very hard to get anything done these days if you're in business, but free enterprise built this country. Think what could happen if we don't keep it free. A public service of this station and the Center for the Defense of Free Enterprise, Bellevue, Washington.
We just can't have people floating about unregulated, you know.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live Saturday edition of the program. You can take control of the airwaves. We're talking about sex. Younger people apparently not having it as often as you might have thought. And it's Ian in the studio tonight.
And Mark.
Also, speaking of sex, you got to have a good pillow for afterwards, right? MyPillow.com, promo code FTL. Because what would be worse than not being able to get a good night's sleep after you rolled over and, finished the act, right? You got to have a good pillow for that. And all the time. Whether you're having...
I expected you to make some kind of pillow talk
Whether
joke.
You're completely asexual or you are, just all over the place with sex.
Everybody needs a good night's sleep.
Everybody needs a good pillow. And that's where a good night's sleep can start. If you go to MyPillow.com, you can get 2 MyPillow premium pillows for one low price because eventually you might have a partner. And you'll get free shipping on all orders when you use promo code FTL, like Free Talk Live. And if for whatever reason you don't agree with us that MyPillow is the best pillow you've probably ever used, and may ever use, you'll have 60 days in which you can return it to them and get a refund of your purchase price. So
yeah, please take that particular guarantee and try it out for yourself, because that's the God's honest truth. This is the best pillow I've ever used. I love it. Not only does it hold my head and neck in the right position, and which can help with headaches and that sort of thing if you suffer, but it also you can launder the thing and wash all that filth that comes off of you in the middle of the night.
Sweat,
yeah,
skin,
all that stuff.
My Pillow.
It may make it through the pillowcase, the pillow cover, and then whatever things you wrap your pillow in.
MyPillow.com, promo code FTL, like Free Talk Live. Let's go to the phones, your calls and thoughts here. We got Diane. She's in Michigan listening to WTKG. Hello, Diane.
Hi.
Hey there.
I heard the guy talking about how you needed a little piece of paper to get a decent job, even if you didn't learn anything.
That's what he said his story was.
That was his story, right. I wanted to give a different story.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter just got a job in this round of applications that was open. They had 290,000 people apply for a job. They took 1,600 people, and lots of them didn't make it through training. And
what kind of job is this?
She had some courses at community college, but she said every single one of the people she met had either a college degree or advanced degree, and so much debt they couldn't afford to live anywhere. They were living on couches, and
I'm just curious to know. You don't have to tell us the exact company.
No, I can tell you exactly what kind of job it was.
Yeah.
It's a flight attendant.
Oh wow. Okay. And
for a major carrier, and everybody, and she actually beat out people that had advanced degrees in really relevant people that could speak other languages, people that had nursing degrees, people who were. I mean, it was amazing. And she had
one of the things
maybe has an AA if we count it all up.
One of the things that they do is they look for people's credit scores these days. College can now destroy your credit because you can't afford to make the payments. So it could be that. I don't know. This is just wild speculation.
It was absolutely amazing because she can actually afford to, they have all this debt, and even in all the people that got the job except her have degrees or advanced degrees that they now are trying to pay for. And
she won't have to
for a job you didn't need it for because
right.
she got accepted, and they don't have an apartment and she does.
She's going to be able to pay the rent, and she might be able to put a little bit of money away for savings for the future.
Yeah, well,
Diane, thanks for calling to share that with us here tonight.
Yeah, it also it goes in with your talking about young people and sex too, because I have heard, and I don't know if you guys have heard this, that when people have college student loan debt, other people that don't have student loan debt will not date them because it's like the new leprosy.
Well,
they won't marry them.
I'm still paying my wife's school debt. Okay,
there you go.
It's not that
you weren't that person.
It's not that we can't pay it off.
New financial leprosy.
Yeah,
that's interesting
for young people.
Right, because you would presume that there are going to be people out there with this debt hanging over their head that want to find somebody well off to help them satisfy that. Thanks for the call tonight, Diane. I appreciate it. The toll-free number if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. And you can't blame somebody for saying, you know what, I'd rather not have that on the table to even be concerned with in the first place.
My favorite part was when she says, speaking of young people and sex, I don't know if you guys have heard this, nobody's talking to me about young people and sex, I can tell you that. But no, in my the case of my wife, we could pay it off. It's just that the loan is so low as far as as an interest rate. She just refuses to do it, and it should be paid off this year. But
great!
Nonetheless,
that'd be a good feeling.
I imagine people are
and
making.
How old is she?
She just turned 50.
Your wife's older than you?
Yeah, she's 2.5 years older.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Right. Okay.
She looks a lot better than you do,
Let
buddy.
me tell you this story, okay? Real quick. Sorry, everybody. I picked up a picture in my office. We're moving house. Picked up a picture in my office, dusted it off a little bit, looked at a picture of my son who's like 1 in it, me, and then my wife. And I'm looking at my hair, which is completely brown in the picture.
It's now gray.
Now it's just basically white. 9 years later,
it's
10
white.
years
it's
later.
Gray. It's dark gray.
Yeah. Anyway, it's my hair's completely changed colors, and she looks the same. And I said, do you think that you can explain this picture to me and not use the word vampiricitic soul sucker? Like, why is it that you're completely the same age?
Right.
Visibly.
That's interesting.
But the two of us have aged.
Right, because women normally lose it over time. You're saying she's held it together. That's a nice compliment.
Good genes, and she exercises.
There you go. Let's go to Dan. He's in Nebraska. Dan, you're on Free Talk Live, listening online at lrn.fm.
I just want to say real quick about that article you were reading just a sec ago.
About young people not having sex as often this generation?
Yeah, I feel like there's a little bit of boomer hypocrisy, because I always feel like I hear boomers saying that the generations following them are all like degenerate and stuff, when the reality is that they were actually a lot more into that kind of thing than we are. So I feel like there's just some irony there.
A lot more into that kind of thing. What do you mean? Degeneracy? And what is degeneracy? Is that anything besides the the missionary position? I mean, how do you define that?
I'm not speaking from my own perspective. I'm speaking from the perspective of my boomer aunts and uncles who I've debated over several holidays for things pertaining to their perception of young people, and that sort of area.
How old are you? You're in your college age kind of range, right?
I'm 19.
19. Okay, that's what I thought. So yeah, you. I mean, does that even make him a millennial? Are you Generation Z?
I'm a Generation Z.
Generation Z.
Generation Z.
Well,
would be
call us up and let us know when they come up with a real name for this, because it is absolutely wrong. The Generation Z should be named after Generation X. So they had Y and then now Z. This poor generation doesn't. Are we going to call the one after you A?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's actually Alpha.
Yeah,
Generation Alpha. I already read an article on Forbes about how they're affecting how their parents spend money, a lot. So yeah, they're already named Generation Alpha.
So Dan, any comments on friends of yours? I mean, again, like you said, Mark, I never talk to my friends about sexual frequencies.
I guess I have this question: how of your male friends, how many of them have girlfriends as a percentage? And tell us how many male friends you're thinking of in this group size.
So I'm going to say of work friends, about work friends, all of them, frat brothers, half, other friends, other just assorted friends, probably just a little under half.
Okay.
There
you go. Anything else you want to share tonight, Dan?
I don't think I got anything else.
Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. The toll-free number here is 855-450, free like freedom.
I think the fair critique here is that oftentimes the older the generation, the better voice they have, right? Through media, they've got the voice. Gen X is getting its voice. The boomers definitely have one.
Yeah.
And
boomers are on the radio, on television. They dominate old media, and that's for sure.
We don't understand each other as far as it goes. And I don't even like the term generation. I prefer to call myself an 80s kid. I was born in 1971, and that means that I came up in the 80s. And I don't really understand those 70s kids very well either, with their disco and, Black Sabbath and stuff. I don't really get that exactly. And I don't really get the 90s kids with their suicide and flannel, right? I don't really understand all that crap either. But when we talk about each other, the ignorance comes across as really biting in many cases. And he's just trying to defend his generation from, in many cases, biting critiques.
And what he considered to be unfair and inaccurate.
Yeah. And how would you know if you weren't part of that generation? Every generation's complained about the ones that came after.
All right, there's more on the way here. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. Hour number 3 is next. We can talk more about this or whatever's on your mind. You can take control of the airwaves. This is Free Talk Live.
It's been said, any society is only 3 missed meals away from chaos. Those times may be near. Think about it. Our country faces multiple terrorist threats and aggressions from Russia and North Korea. Social unrest and violent marches yet again may lead to looting of stores and city shutdowns. And our crumbling infrastructure leaves our power grid vulnerable to long-term outages from a single cyber attack. When the chaos from any one of these threats arises, the government knows it can't provide during a widespread national emergency. That's why you need your own plan for self-reliance. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. Get a 4-week survival food supply for only $99. That includes breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Order online at preparewithgcn.com. $99 for 4 weeks of survival food that tastes like homemade cooking and lasts up to 25 years from My Patriot Supply. Get your kits today at preparewithgcn.com. Free shipping is included. Preparewithgcn.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, July 7th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.04 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,255 per ounce. Zen Cash is trading at $20, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,566. Antiwar.com reports on Friday afternoon, Syrian rebels confirmed that a deal was reached with Russian and Jordanian negotiators to end the offensive in Daraa province and bring the region back under de facto government control. Under the deal, Russian military police will take the border crossings and will guarantee the return of displaced civilians and rebels who want to end their opposition to government rule. The rebels will disarm, but in a series of stages. In addition to ending the Syrian military offensive, the deal also calls for the gradual withdrawal of Syrian army forces from the towns they've taken and to be replaced by local forces who are overseen by Russia. This too is expected to take some time. Those rebels unwilling to resolve their rebel status, for which the Syrian government has been offering broad amnesty, are expected to be transferred north into rebel-held areas there. Once completed, this effectively ends the rebellion across southern Syria. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap and Amazon, at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com. UPI reports federal prosecutors dropped charges Friday against the remaining 38 protesters arrested during President Donald Trump's inauguration, according to court documents. The U.S. Attorney's Office in the District of Columbia made the decision to drop the rioting charges after 21 people pled guilty. Police initially arrested and charged 234 people with rioting. Prosecutors dropped cases against 129 people in January in order to focus attention on more serious offenses. 6 defendants who went to trial were acquitted of charges, and prosecutors said they'd be unable to secure convictions for dozens of others. Called out for individual acts of vandalism, violence, and destruction, prosecutors allege the protesters engaged in black bloc tactics on January 20th, 2017 during Trump's swearing-in, causing damage to vehicles and property. 6 police officers were hurt during the protest as they exchanged flashbang explosives with protesters hurling rocks and firecrackers at them. Police said the protest resulted in more than $100,000 in damage across the District of Columbia. A statement from the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington, D.C. said in light of results in the cases brought to trial, however, the U.S. Attorney's Office has now moved to dismiss charges against the 38 remaining defendants in this matter. Defense attorneys said prosecutors overreached in most of the cases, saying their clients were peaceful protesters caught up in arrest of the more violent rioters. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system and to fully capitalize on that decision in their fundraising efforts. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy, maximizing the potential cross-promotion of all our clients and commercial partners. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com. Reuters reports a federal judge ordered on Friday that the U.S. government must provide a list by Saturday evening of the estimated 100 children under the age of 5 who were separated from their parents when entering the United States. Judge Dana Sabrol also ordered the government to explain by Saturday its expectation for reuniting each of those children with their parents by the end of Tuesday. Sabrol last month issued the reunification order, which also set a July 26 deadline for more than 2,000 children to be reunited with their parents. The U.S. government attorneys said they may fail to meet these deadlines due to delays in confirming family relationships, but Sabrol declined to extend them without more information. The judge said, "What I'm contemplating is that the government provides a list to plaintiffs' counsel by tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific, with the identities of the children." He also asked the government to provide the ACLU, which brought the class action case, with expectations for meeting the deadline for each of the children on the list. The judge scheduled a status conference for Monday at 10 a.m. and said he hopes the government and the ACLU can reach agreement about any need to extend the reunification deadline. The government said in court documents that it was particularly struggling to connect children with their parents who were released from detention. ACLU attorney Lee Gallant said organizations would jump at the chance to help connect the parents with their children. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
According to a groundbreaking study on anxiety disorders published this week in the New England Journal of Medicine, researchers have discovered that feelings of anxiety can be completely resolved as long as people think about them real hard.
After studying subjects with mild to chronic anxiety disorders, we found that the best way to overcome mental stress is to isolate the root of the anxiety, analyze it from every possible angle, and then think about it nonstop until it completely disappears.
Researchers worked with numerous subjects in the middle of high-stress scenarios and said the key to overcoming anxiety is to start by focusing on a minor problem, list everything that can go wrong in the worst-case scenario, and then repeat that list in your head 200 times. After anywhere between 3 to 6 hours of perpetually torturing yourself over things outside of your control, all feelings of anxiety will completely disappear, and you can finally enjoy the remainder of your day.
This is the Onion News Network.
It is Free Talk Live as we launch into the third hour of this live Saturday edition of the program. We will take your calls about whatever you want to discuss. The we in the studio is me, Ian.
And me, Mark.
Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Folks in our chat room on Discord talking about some of the issues we've been discussing here tonight. You can join them over at discord.lrn.fm. In fact, Dan in Nebraska is in there pretty regularly. He was just on the phone with us a moment ago, so you actually get to interact with some of our callers and some of the hosts of the show in our Discord chat. The discussion has been, well, earlier tonight, it was about young people in America and not having babies as often, which led to a larger discussion about young people not having sex as often, apparently, according to
one thing
studies.
Leads to another.
Indeed. Or in this case, not at all. Or in some cases, not as often, because people are being more deliberate about whether or not they're having children. They're choosing not to for a variety of different reasons. But many people just aren't even having as much sex as they were in previous generations.
Which handles the accidental or the
some amount of the
surprise babies.
Exactly. So we were going to get into the question of, well, why is this? There's an article over at Politico that has some speculation because they say it's too early to offer definitive answers on the question of what is driving this, what they call a sexual counter-revolution. So we'll get into that coming up here, but let's go first to the Discord on-air call-in line room where Wick is on the line, and he says he's calling from Discord. So we don't know where he's at in the world.
He's in Discord.
But go ahead, Wick. You're on Free Talk Live.
Hey there. I'm in the UK. No, I just wanted to pick up on the stuff that we were talking about earlier. I mean, which generation, specifically referring to the youngest generation, or does it include millennials as well?
We're talking about both of those. According to the study here, now again, they looked at Americans, so I don't know if this is reflected in the UK, and you might be able to tell us that, but ultimately, millennials as well as teenagers, sexual relations has been declining over the last couple of decades.
Yeah, I think it is a similar trend the UK. One of you earlier in the show today mentioned that kind of link with.
Unfortunately, we had a good connection with you during the news break, and I don't know what's happened to it, but it is no longer good.
The sharks are chewing on that fiber that runs in
I'll tell you what, I'll put you on hold here. We're going to see if we can clear that up in a little bit, or maybe if normally Discord and Skype are pretty great, but if you're doing something like uploading a file during the time in which you're on with us, or like you got torrents running or something like that.
Sometimes your computer will just do things automatically
that could cause the problem. Or of course, it could be on our end. But anyway, we'll see if we can figure that out.
We are not uploading a file right now.
Well, we're not. Probably. We don't know who all's in the building doing who knows what. But we'll get into that here in a moment. Here, it sounds like what he was saying though was he believes the trend is reflected in the UK among the youth, among young people there.
I think the trend is going to be reflected in any of the urban and wealthier areas. So wealth doesn't preclude babies and sex, but urban areas, people are just less likely to need children, and that causes a cascade of effects, right? So farmers need kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's been true for decades. I mean, people have been in urban areas for much longer than this trend has been going on.
But
so there's more to it.
Concentrating in urban areas.
Yes, but there's more to it than that. At least there's some suggestions here as far as political
entertainment would be my guess.
You're saying that it's the phones and the computers. They might be getting into that here. So first, here are their hypotheses on the question from Politico.com. First, while they're not socially conservative, the members of the millennial, which is to say born between 1980 and the mid-90s, and the iGen, born since the mid-90s generation. So that's, I guess, another name for the Generation Z, iGen.
Okay.
Generations are more cautious on average than earlier generations, and hence more inclined to focus on the emotional and physical risks of sex rather than its joys.
This is the thing that I hate the worst about these kids, these emo kids. Is all this worry about how people are going to feel and all that stuff. Look, you got to take people's emotions into consideration, but you don't just sit there pondering as your life goes away.
Is that what it means to be emo? I always thought it was like a hairstyle. Are they,
It's short for emotional.
But it's about worrying about other people's emotions and not so much your own?
If you're worrying about your own, you've got to be worrying about other people's too, right?
Okay. I don't know. I don't understand anything about it. I always just heard about emo. I didn't know anything about it.
Buck up, trooper.
Raised by helicopter parents, these young adults take fewer risks. As a group, they drink less, they drive less, and they also hit the sheets less.
We were just reading an article about millennials a week ago or whatever that was basically calling them a bunch of alcoholics. So, okay.
It says here they drink less. I don't know. They link to something here. If you want to, we can get into that further. But today's young adults have gotten the message, think MTV's 16 and Pregnant, that sex and pregnancy can be a threat to them and their future.
It certainly is.
Yeah, that's why I got a vasectomy at age 23. Tyrone, a 20-year-old man, put it this way to an author for her book, iGen. His generation is having less sex, quote, because of fear of pregnancy and disease. And he said there's a bunch of commercials and television shows and stuff trying to teach you a lesson, unquote. Second, growing concerns about the ways in which unwanted or assaultive sex is dangerous, morally unacceptable, and an obstacle to progress in education and the workplace for women in particular, may be having an impact. Starting in 2011, for instance, the Obama administration pushed colleges and universities to reduce sexual harassment and violence with a range of Title IX-inspired measures. These measures and the concerns they underlined led to the expulsions of hundreds, if not thousands of men for alleged sexual assaults on campuses. Heightened attention.
Yeah, there was a huge wave of that, and it's difficult to know what exactly sexual assault was when they were talking about this.
Indeed. Heightened attention and sexual assault on college campuses probably left its mark on dating and mating habits among students across the country. Quote, more and more sexual acts that previous generations might have filed under terrible college experience are being reclassified as offenses that can earn banishment from the ivory tower. This according to Vanessa Grigoriadis in her book, Blurred Lines, Rethinking Sex, Power, and Consent on Campus. Now, of course, this has gone to the extreme, as we've reported in recent years, where now some college campuses are requiring, what do they call it, active consent, I think, or ongoing active consent.
Every 5 minutes, she's got to yell, yes!
Basically, every move you make, the person has to give
chess game.
Some kind of verbal consent to.
May I place my hand on your hip? Why, yes, you may. It's like this weird sexual game of Simon Says.
This doesn't sound like a fun game at all.
Well, some people think this is really hot, and that's why they go about doing it. But they shouldn't be prescribing their sexual proclivities to others.
A recent poll in The Economist illustrates how young adults are now more concerned than their older peers about sexual assault, and more likely to view behavior related to sex and dating as troubling. Young adults in the United States were about twice as likely as Americans 64 and older to think that commenting on a woman's attractiveness was sexual harassment.
Well, look, when I used to post on the Free Talk Live's Facebook page, remember when we had the Shrine of Female Listeners?
Yeah.
I would use some of those pictures that promoted Free Talk Live, FTL or whatever, on the Facebook page, and people got excited. More and more, it was turning into this, like, I can't believe you guys are sexploiting these women.
Sexploiting.
It's a picture of a lady with her clothes on who, like, voluntarily took this picture and sent it to us.
She took it however she wanted to take it. Some of them are a little more sexy than others.
I just stopped putting them up there because it was,
we also stopped the Shrine of Female Listeners at some point.
But look, I still have the pictures.
But
and
it was more out of sheer laziness than any other reason. We weren't getting that many submissions, and it was just too much effort.
Just saying,
keep it going.
It was this cacophony of harpies, and actually, I shouldn't even give a gender because it certainly wasn't. It was largely men.
Describing, were they white knighting or something like that?
Look, I don't know. I'm not a psychiatrist. They were complaining on the internet.
Describing all this as sexual counter-revolution, Douglas Murray at The Spectator argued that, quote, whereas the 1960s saw a freeing up of attitudes towards sex, pushing at boundaries, this counterswing is turning sexual freedom into sexual fear, and nearly all sexual opportunities into a legalistic minefield.
I know a guy who owns a business will not be alone in a room
with a woman?
With one of his female employees, or a woman generally.
Wow. All right,
just won't do it.
There's more coming up here in moments. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You can share your thoughts on young people, though they're sexually more free, supposedly, they're actually more restrictive. It's Free Talk Live.
From the sixth letter of Captain Mark. A pirate's life is characterized by voluntary interactions. Unfortunately, the Crown presses everyone into involuntary servitude. Landlubbers believe slavery was abolished years ago, but the Crown still claims to own us when it crimps us into service against our will. Given sufficient ambition, it would gladly draft thousands of hapless victims to kill or be killed. It's simply slavery by another name. Landlubbers are routinely commanded to serve the so-called justice system in jury duty. But before you swell with civic pride, consider that how you feel is irrelevant to the Crown. You will appear as ordered or face punitive measures. The Crown insists that you participate in your own oppression. A jury summons provides pirates with a unique opportunity to obstruct injustices. A juror can vote not guilty, even if it's proven the law was violated. A juror can acquit for any reason at all, and not even a judge can reverse that verdict. Receiving a jury summons is basically winning the sedition lottery. But if you reveal that you know this during jury selection, you'll probably be dismissed. If the Crown foolishly crimps a pirate into jury duty, it behooves the pirate to conceal their intention to nullify unjust laws. If a master takes 100% of your labor, it's called slavery. But if they only take 50%, they call it taxation, a difference of degree, not of kind. Whether the Crown claims a fortune or a cent is irrelevant. Most of all, a slave owner desires contented slaves, meaning thoughtless ones that accept their bondage. These house slaves see no contradiction in being drafted in a war to end slavery or summoned to a jury to prosecute tax evasion. An ideal slave knows no higher call than the master's will. The Crown's highest ambition is that its slaves revere the authority that subjugates them. But the Crown does not own me. I will not surrender my time and treasure to the Crown's ambitions. Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Join us right here if you want. The toll-free number for you is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well. Skype username here is LRN.FM. And there's our Discord on-air call-in line room, which you can jump into over at discord.lrn.fm. Don't forget, we've got a podcast. Actually, we got a few different versions of the Free Talk Live podcast. Now, what is a podcast? Well, it is a way for you to receive episodes of this show and other things like the Edgington Post. Well, I guess Edgington Post isn't its own separate show anymore. Yeah,
Edgington Post is tacked on the end of the Free Talk Live.
Other things like the Free Talk Live Digest version of the show. Yep. You can receive those at basically every single day when they're updated automatically via your favorite podcast client. There's a bunch of different clients out there. A lot of people use iTunes. I find that to be a piece of garbage, but a lot of people love iTunes. And there's other ones for your phone and that you can download and add our podcast to it. And then you can listen whenever you darn well feel like it. So if you want to find our podcast feed links, go to feeds.freetalklive.com. You'll find different versions of our podcast there. There's the one that's the full feed that's got everything that we put out. There's one that's episodes only, and then there's another one that's digests only. So go there at feeds.freetalklive.com. As we continue, we'll take your calls and your thoughts about what you want. We're sharing a story from Politico, and we're going to get back into that. It's about young people in the United States and how they're having less sex than previous decades, previous generations. We'll get back into that, but want to give Wick one more try here. He said he's on public Wi-Fi, so that's probably why the issue happened intermittently, and he sounded better. Anyway, you're back on with us, Wick. Go ahead with the point you were trying to make.
Hi there. Yeah, I mean, I was just I was picking up on something that one of you, either you or Mark, said earlier in the show about anime and sort of becoming a bit like Japan, and I just wonder if that's also the trend in the US. Like, I wonder if that's connected to why people are having fewer relationships, because maybe people are becoming more reclusive with that stuff. And the other trend that I heard about, which, although this was about the UK, but I think I've heard it about the US as well.
You think, hold on, before you go on though, you think anime heads, I don't recall us talking about anime tonight, but do you think anime fandom has led to more reclusiveness?
Well, not directly, but I just thought that maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you didn't say it. Maybe somebody in Discord said it. But I just thought that maybe it's a bit of a trend, like, because that's kind of Japanese, and also and because they can be quite reclusive, and there's stuff in the news all the time about people in Japan not having sex or having casual relationships at all. And I just thought maybe it's not a coincidence that both of the same things are happening.
But they had anime back in the 1990s.
But I'm pretty sure it's becoming much more popular.
I'm not sure if we're talking about anime or hentai here.
Hentai is the sex version, right?
Right.
Yeah, I'm talking about non-sexual anime.
Yeah, I can't imagine how that's related, but then again, I'm not very imaginative, so...
well, that's like a chicken or the egg thing. Is anime likely to attract those who are, into things besides sex, or is it slowly turning people who were into sex into, asexuals?
I think there's a pretty good argument for
I don't know
pornography, though. I mean, I've known friends whose relationships have broken up over pornography addictions. I don't understand
That's a problem.
But that's how you can let your attractive 20-year-old nubile wife just go to sleep in the other room while you're watching porn is completely beyond me. But, yep, that's what's been reported to me.
All right, what was your other point? Go ahead.
The other point was that I heard, I don't know if this is the perfect way to phrase it, but I hear some people say that a lot of people are increasingly into clean living. Like a lot of people are cutting out things like alcohol and focusing on things that might even be a bit fad-like to do things to improve their health. I mean, I know that in the UK, a lot of professional soccer players used to have a reputation for like going out and just getting totally drunk the night before a game, and now a lot of them don't drink, and lots of sports stars are vegan and things like that. And I wonder if people are taking clean living to another level by saying no having sex,
suggesting that sex is dirty, and so therefore...
Well, I've also heard that just athletes generally don't believe that they perform at their highest level if they have sex within X number of hours prior to whatever sports activity it is that they do. And you got to remember, athletes tend to be pretty superstitious. They'll wear a particular pair of socks or not wash a jersey or, do whatever it is that they do. And that may be along that line.
Wick, thanks for the call tonight. Appreciate hearing from you. And it's late where he is, by the way. It's like 2 in the morning over there.
Superstitions often have to do with giving up something that you really enjoy in order to, in hopes of...
walking under ladders. I really don't want to give that up.
I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about general... Well, look, people don't throw their beloved children into volcanoes to make the crops grow for no particular reason at all. This is superstition, right? And it often is the case.
Let's continue with your calls and thoughts here. Todd is on the line in Indianapolis listening to WIBC. Hey, Todd.
How you doing, guys?
Hey, what's on your mind tonight?
Hey, listen, I got a quick solution to all these people that aren't having sex anymore.
Okay.
And all these consent issues.
Yeah.
Here's a solution. Maybe meet somebody, form a relationship, find out if you have something in common, get married, and then possibly then have all the sex you want.
Okay. Why would you want to not have sex before marriage?
Yeah, tell me about why you want to take the car out for a test drive.
No, I'm totally into that, but the thing is once you get married and you try it beforehand, you try it with different people, once you get married, then you can have all the sex you want and there's no consent issues.
Yeah, there is. What the heck are you talking about?
They talk about consent all the time within marriage.
If your wife doesn't want to have sex with you, you ain't going to have sex with her. If you do, it's rape.
Well, I haven't had that problem at all.
Well, good for you.
Right. That's something you should talk about
never
beforehand.
been on the couch.
Right? Like that's something you should talk about beforehand, which is hey, I think that our relationship would go along best if one of us wants to have sex, the other one should just go ahead and do that because, otherwise resentments build up and these sorts of things. I think it's a great conversation to have ahead of time. And I
Put that in your prenup.
I would recommend that everybody getting married have that conversation.
Put it in a prenup because otherwise she could deny it was the conversation was had.
No doubt about it. But I guess my point is that when you don't have, you're attempting to establish these relationships with people you don't know, there's a consent issue, right?
Mm-hmm,
and
sure.
There's always an issue that, is this allowed, is this not allowed? Well, if you take the time to establish a relationship with somebody, and maybe you have some sex before you're married or whatever, but if you find somebody you actually like, then there's no consent issues anymore, right?
I get what you're saying there, Todd. Thanks for calling in tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. And I think that that's some of what's going on here is that they're saying that even though there is a hookup culture to some extent, and we'll get into some more of the reasons why sex is less likely these days among younger people, is because they are concerned and they do want to find somebody that they've connected with, perhaps maybe before they go to the bedroom. I don't know. We'll get into more of the reasons here from Politico.com, some of the rationale for this new behavior trend. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. It's affecting millennials. It's affecting the following generation. They're calling the iGens or Generation Z. 855-450-FREE, like freedom. If you want to join us here, you can. This is Free Talk Live on the live Saturday edition.
You've seen crazy diets to lose weight. At GCN Team, our healthy body weight loss system simply neutralizes the body, bringing down cravings. It has been proven that nutritional deficiencies drive appetite for carbs, sugars, and fats. Lose weight the easy way. Find us at gcnteam.com or call 877-878-4203. Fighting cravings is a fool's game. Give the body what it needs to be satisfied. Again, 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
There is no such thing as attention span, according to Jerry Seinfeld, who figures that people have an infinite attention span if you are entertaining them. Hey, he's kept us from channel surfing for several decades, and now he's making more millions as a Las Vegas headliner. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important, especially if you're looking for work. So choose every single word as though it was the last word the person you're speaking to will hear. Otherwise, it might be. Avoid redundancies such as added bonus, advance warning, end result, prior history, or personal belongings. And avoid cliches like the plague. Just kidding. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live Saturday show. You dial toll free. Join us here. We're talking about sexual trends, specifically the trend of sexual activity falling off in recent generations, with the millennials and the current young generation, the iGens, according to this article at Politico, being affected similarly. And they're speculating on some of the reasons why. We can continue that discussion. Of course, take your calls and your thoughts about what you want to discuss. We do have an email list, and if you want to sign up for that, you can go to freetalklive.com. It is right there, the sign-up box at the top towards the middle of the front page of the website. Well, I guess when we're not live. So that's like the only time. So like when we're live, if you go to the freetalklive.com, it'll show you our live show player. You have to click into the regular site to get to the email sign-up box. So keep that in mind. At freetalklive.com, and we will send you emails, usually no more than once per week, to keep you in the loop with what's happening. Let's go to the phones, to the fun. Robert is in Florida, watching us online at cam.freetalklive.com, or actually he says on YouTube. Go ahead, Robert.
Good afternoon to you folks.
Hello there.
And I'd like to add my 2 or 3 cents to this subject. Grew up in the 50s and 60s. Things were a little different. And how were they different? Children were outside playing.
Yep.
They were running through the woods. They weren't on leashes.
Yeah.
They learned about nature. And now children don't have a clue boys especially don't know which end of a girl to kiss.
I don't know about that. There's a lot of video on the internet.
The internet's full of video tutorials.
I'm talking about the demographics now, not with holding video games on the internet. I'm just seeing that video games, for instance, the violent video games, happen when young kids get a hold of this stuff and then invite their boys, the friends that go to school with them, over to their homes, and they start playing all these video games.
Yeah.
I have friends of mine that have one child, and they were looking for this child to grow up and be a good guy, get a good job, and maybe have a nice family. He invited the neighborhood child across the street. They became friends and just started playing simple video games. 27 years later, he's still playing video games with this guy.
Yeah.
The bottom line is, it's all changing. It's all changing. When you say sex is falling off, it depends on what kind of sex you're talking about.
I think we're talking about intercourse. I think we're talking
about. Are you talking about? I'm sorry.
You think because the guy's playing video games with his friend that they're having sex?
If your head's in the ground, if you're not watching this, if you don't, again.
Look, Robert. Okay, I appreciate your input here, but the fact is, you're out of the generation, obviously, that is playing video games. Mark, you're in your late 40s, and you play video games.
I'm a few years older.
No, you're not Mark. You're Robert. I'm talking to Mark. He's the guy sitting across from me. Mark, you're in your late 40s, and you play video games. You were raised in the 1980s, and that was when, Nintendo was a thing.
I had an Atari 2600.
Atari 2600. Yeah. I'm in my late 30s. I play video games still. But playing video games doesn't necessarily change somebody's sexual interests. It almost sounded like you were suggesting that somebody was going to go gay because they were playing video games.
And then to add to this, the Me Too stuff that's going on, kids are really frightened about it. They're really frightened about what's going on. I have a friend of mine. He was married for 13, 14 years, and all of a sudden, his wife went, remember what you did to me, blah, 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 and that time I told you not to do it, and bringing him to court now. It's changing. It's all changing.
Robert, thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate it. Things do change. That is one of the constants in life that you can count on, is that everything's going to change over time. Interesting speculation on his part, mostly without any real evidence, but I think there is something, and that's the article here at Politico, I think, does get into it, because the headline actually addresses it. The headline of this story is, "Too much Netflix, not enough chill, why young Americans are having less sex," suggesting that maybe the electronic devices are providing a bit of an output for something that's somehow not being channeled into sexual drive.
But
look, I'm in a marriage, and I understand how the effects that electronics have on sex life, at least for one relationship in America, and that is that. People go to bed at different times, right? If I want to stay up a little later and watch a movie, chances are I'm not going to disturb I'm not going to, honey, time to get up for a little romp.
Sure.
I'm just not going to do that. So if she doesn't feel like staying up and watching the movie, and I do, I understand that I have made that sacrifice. Like, it's a decision I've made.
It's not happening tonight.
Right. I can and have turned off the movie and gone to bed with her with the intention that perhaps, some sexy time may occur. And
may or may not.
Well, usually it does.
Okay, good. That's good.
That's the way that goes. But
But some nights you want to keep watching the movie. Apparently,
electronics make are a difference. People aren't going to bed at the same time necessarily, is my guess.
So the one thing he was right about, according to this article here, is the fear over this Me Too thing. According to the story here, in the climate of concern about sex's impact on the welfare of women, there are more young adults like Amelia, a 23-year-old woman spotlighted in iGen, who has not had sex because she thinks there are, quote, so many risks, and says that, quote, women in particular are very aware of the dangers in going with a stranger back to their house.
Well, yeah, I do not understand, will not understand this whole the idea that there's an app out there where you can just swipe on people, they decide to go meet up and have sex. I don't get it. I don't believe it, but whatever.
Third,
I think there must be something more to it that I'm not being told, but
what? Swiping sex thing,
right,
or what?
That somehow Tinder just hooks people up for sex.
That's supposedly. I mean, not everybody is there for sex. There are some people who are looking for a relationship, and
seems like a pretty crappy place to look for it if that's what the reputation is.
It does have a reputation, though.
Look, I don't know. I don't understand. I'm not going to jump to a conclusion. The only conclusion I'm going to jump to here is no. There isn't an app where you can just go and find willing women to have sex with you. That sounds like a hustle on the internet that's going to, at the end of the story, end up getting your credit card number.
I've heard about this. If you are a Tinder user who has used Tinder, I've heard about people who've gone to
people to call radio programs and claim to have had sex through using an app either.
But no, I mean, I've known people who've used Tinder when they've gone to a city that they've never been to before and met somebody that way to have a hookup, which means sex.
That's what it means.
So anyway, I don't get it, but that's apparently a thing. Third, the precarious character of the contemporary economy has made young adults increasingly likely to seek shelter with mom and or dad. Now, this is what we heard earlier when our caller from Orlando, Ala Loca from the Discord, was on the line. She says almost everybody she knows in their late 20s is still living with their parents. So this is definitely a thing. Rather than living on their own or entering into marriage. In 2007, before the Great Recession, just 30% of men aged 18 to 34 lived with a parent. Today, 34% do so. Likewise, the share of women ages 18 to 34 who are living at home rose from 24% to 27%. Now, you could argue that that's, 3 or 4% that statistically could be insignificant, but it is going up, not down. So, it's still worth pointing out. A 28-year-old woman recently told CBS New York why she lives with her mom and dad. Quote, "It's too expensive to afford an apartment," she said.
Well, if she's in New York, yeah, it is.
The shift away from independent living or marriage and toward the family basement undoubtedly puts a crimp on an active sex life for today's young men and women. In fact, now for the first time in more than a century, young adults as a whole are more likely to live at home with their parents than to be married or live with a partner. Let me repeat that. For the first time in more than a century, young adults as a whole are more likely to live at home with their parents than marriage or living with a partner.
Okay.
That's pretty stunning going on here.
Roommates don't really fit in there, huh?
Yeah, I guess they didn't factor in roommates into that one.
Well, it's just comparing one to the other, roommates may not be, it's just, it's not factored in.
There's more coming up here in moments. We got time for your calls and thoughts on the topic of young people and not having sex as much these days compared to previous generations. 855-450-FREE like freedom. This is Free Talk Live.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Hi, this is Dr. Joel Wallach, the Mineral Doctor. You've heard me talk about 90 for Life for years. 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 2 fatty acids. You may not know this, that I've actually designed Arthrodex for animals. That's right. Your pets need 90 for Life too. Get this essential pet product by calling 877-279-9422. That's 877-279-9422. Again, 877-279-9422.
Are you living your passion? Are you pumped to go to work because you get to talk about or work with or do the things that interest you the most? Is working, playing, and relaxing one and the same? As long as you're working for someone else, you'll never be living entirely true to yourself and your passion. I'm Pharmacist Keith. Let me show you how you can work around your current schedule, create the extra income so you can live your passion. Visit radio.recordedvideo.com. That's radio.recordedvideo.com. radio.recordedvideo.com.
Free Talk Live.
One of the counselor's excuses for her behavior after call accused her of engaging in stealing. This is stealing. You're taking something from somebody who believed they owned something, and by all evidence did own something. You're taking it from them. And as you say, Mark, this goes on all across the country. They're called tax sales or tax deeds. Whenever people drop back in not being able to pay property taxes, in this case, it's because of the down economy. These people are having a tough time. At one point, she got very frustrated, and she said, well, it's not stealing because it's the law. So apparently when the law says you can take something that's not yours, it's not stealing. And now all the law is, as you pointed out, and you talk about the Constitution that's supposed to be the highest law of the land, the law is just words on paper written down by men and women. Some of them signed their names to it, but most of us, in fact 99.999% of us, never signed anything in regards to their laws.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Should you be able to earn an honest living free from senseless government interference? The Institute for Justice thinks so. That's why we've spent years defending hard-working men and women from pointless government regulations. Nationwide, IJ has created opportunity by reducing government power, but there is still more work to be done. Visit our website today at ij.org. Let IJ take care of the government so you can take care of your business.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Moments remain here. We got enough time for you if you want to jump in here on this live Saturday edition of the show with you in the studio tonight. It's Ian.
And Mark.
And if you support what we do here on Free Talk Live, we ask that you join the AMP program. Head over to amp.freetalklive.com. I sent out a newsletter to our amplifiers earlier this month kind of explaining the situation with AMP where fact is, even though we're on more radio stations than ever, on bigger radio stations than ever. We have fewer ampers than we have in a long time. We've got just under 200 supporters of the AMP program. Now, I mean, that's still a lot. I'm grateful for everybody that we have on board, but it's way down from what we've had. We've had as many as 300 on at a time, and I was just looking at the database that I have of former amplifiers, and that's now over 1,600 people at last check. So we've had a whole lot more people in the past than we currently do today. And somebody who actually responded to that email that I'd sent out, just kind of explaining, what's going on with the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. It's a $5 a month program that you can join and get some cool perks and help us get on new radio stations, for instance. WRKO, for instance, our new station in Boston, was absolutely there because of the AMP program. I mean, that is the reason that station exists with us, is because of listeners like you amping Free Talk Live, which allowed us to hire on an industry expert named Skip, who's been with us for more than a decade now at this point and has helped kind of rep us to some of the bigger radio stations out there and has been very successful at helping us sign up a number of stations. And the AMP program also sends us to the Talkers Conference now. We went to our 13th one this year, and it's the amplifiers, listeners like you, who've joined the AMP program for $5 a month that make that possible. And it was at the Talkers Conference that I met the program director of WRKO. And we had a great connection, and it was awesome. So the AMP program is a really big help to us. But one of the questions that was asked was, well, if you guys are on more radio stations now, isn't that an indicator that the program was successful and therefore doesn't need to be funded? And shouldn't you expect funding to fall off? I said, well, we could be on way more stations than we're on. It's not like we're done at 192 stations. I think Limbaugh's on, he claims 600 now. We know that a lot of these radio shows tend to inflate their numbers pretty significantly.
Well, there's a certain number of talk stations, and those talk stations are running something.
Correct, and we can be on at least a couple hundred more. At least we could be on 400, 500, somewhere in that range. So no, our growth is nowhere even near complete to what it could be, and so we still need help. I mean, if you guys value what we do here, if you appreciate the message of freedom and liberty and peace and cryptocurrency going out over the radio waves 7 nights a week, and we'd love to do more internet outreach as well, but we just can't afford something like Penn Jillette's podcast. I'd love to get on it. I'd love to let his 400,000 typical listeners know about Free Talk Live, but we can't afford the $1,000 a month or $1,000 per episode, I guess, that it would take, and that's the discounted rate. If we were to buy a bunch of episodes, that it would take to do that. So if you want to help us get to that point, then please go to amp.freetalklive.com, because you can help us get the message of liberty out much further than it is currently being gotten, and get some cool perks like access to the AMP-only chat rooms on the new Discord server. You get the AMP-only podcast, the AMP-only Facebook group, and more. Head over to amp.freetalklive.com. But the good news is, every dollar that comes in is more effective now because we're a bigger force sort of in the industry, meaning that, when a program director hears about Free Talk Live, they've probably already heard about us at some point, in the past. If they meet us at a conference or something, it's not that they may not know who we are anymore. We've been around for long enough to where we're the longest running show in nighttime radio in our day part in the United States. That's the fact.
The only show on about half the time on the weekend that we're on.
The only show on about half the time on the weekend. What does that mean?
Take the 6 hours that Free Talks Live's on from 7 p to 10 p Eastern time in the entire United States, there are only 3 shows on in that time slot, and of those 6 hours, in 3 of those hours, we're the only thing that's on.
Right. So
last I looked.
So we are the choice for nighttime radio, but we still need stations to know that. We still need to market it to them, and we appreciate your help with that. And you get the perks over at amp.freetalklive.com. As we continue a little bit more about sexual, activity or the lack thereof in recent generations. And the question is, well, why has it been dropping off? The article here at Politico goes on, and she says, these longer-term cultural and economic trends don't explain why sex has dropped most dramatically for teens and young adults in the past few years. For instance, the share of...
Hey.
Somebody's doing a check there. I'm going to turn him down. That's Vincent. He's coming up next on LRN.FM. But anyway,
that's your mistake, not
That was totally my mistake, yep. But, so, recent years... The share of young adults who had no sex in the past year more than doubled from 7% in 2010 to 2012 to 18% from 2014 to 2016. So within a period of 6 years, a more than doubling in the share of young adults who had no sex whatsoever. The recent dip in sex doesn't seem to be driven by economic forces. The economy and young adult employment have improved in recent years. The timing of this dip leads us to hypothesize that new technology has played a key role in the sexual disconnect among young adults. The proliferation of smartphones and screens, as Twenge argued in iGen, seems to be undercutting the formation and sustenance of non-virtual relationships, including sex, among today's young adults.
You can't hump them if you don't know them in real life.
Right. This may be in part between...
They have to be in the same room. That's
next
step
to you,
one. I didn't realize that we had to put this all together for the young people.
This may be in part because new technology is encouraging young adults to devote more time to social media, video games, and other virtual distractions, and less time with their peers in person, she writes. There is certainly a correlation between the rise of smartphones and the decline of physical sex among young adults. Now, correlation is not causation, let's be clear, but it's interesting to look at. The share of young adults who had a smartphone rose above 50% in 2011 and has now reached almost total ownership, meaning almost every young person has a smartphone.
Yeah.
The surge in smartphone ownership coincides with the marked recent declines in sex among young adults and teenagers. The evidence is growing that the spread of highly entertaining and diverting technology discourages in-person socializing, including, we think, one of the most fundamental forms of socializing, sex. Dating has fallen precipitously in recent years, at least among teens, as smartphones and screens have become more popular. In the past decade, the share of high school seniors who reported ever going out on dates fell from about 70% to approximately 55%. Now, that is not statistical noise. That's a significant drop.
Yeah.
We don't have data for dating among young adults, but socializing offline is down among them too. For all the talk of young adults Netflix and chilling, which apparently is code for having sex after watching Netflix.
It's not after.
Or during?
Well, I mean, the idea
Seems
is
strange.
Well, then you can enjoy the movie.
While you're having sex?
No, you do it, then you watch the movie.
Oh, so it's in reverse.
As I understand
Gotcha.
that there's that might be the order of things. The stuff I read on the internet.
As it turns out, many of these young men and women may end up just binging on the Netflix and not chilling, which is, again, the term for sex, apparently.
Yeah, but that's not when they're together. It's just separate.
Well, that's what they're saying here, Mark. I don't know. Porn is also likely to be a factor. A decent amount of young men's screen time and attention is devoted to virtual sex rather than the real thing.
Yep.
Quote, a look at the shifting attitudes and behaviors from the 1973 to 2012 finds porn viewership has increased substantially among young adults, according to a research team headed by Joseph Price, an economist. For those young adults devoted to porn, Twenge speculates, quote, why risk rejection, sexually transmitted diseases, relationship arguments, or having to meet up with someone when you can watch porn in the privacy of your own bedroom and do things your way. Pornhub, the leading vehicle for online porn in the United States, saw its viewership rocket from 10 million daily visits in 2009 to 25 million in 2012 to 75 million in 2017. There are upsides to the sexual counter-revolution that appears to be unfolding, one of which is that it seems likely to encourage women and men to be more considerate, committed, and consensual about all matters sexual. This counter-revolution may be cutting down on sex and sex-related talk and behavior that is unwanted, awkward, and abusive, and probably casual sex in general. Christine Emba of the Washington Post wrote, quote, now could be the time to reintroduce virtues such as prudence, temperance, respect, and even love. We might pursue the theory that sex possibly has a deeper significance than just recreation, and that consent, that thin and gameable boundary, might not be the only moral sensibility that we need to respect. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. Matthew in YouTube land. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Matthew.
Hey, how are you all doing tonight?
Good. Quick with your thoughts, though. Quick.
Okay. Have y'all ever read Robert Heinlein's book, The Starship Troopers?
No, but I saw the movie.
I've read a lot of his books, but not that one.
Yeah, well, that's actually where he actually first started to talk about his political theories. And one of his things that he read, and I was a very young adult when I read this, was in the book Starship Troopers. He was talking about human nature, and he said that humans by nature wish to seek pleasure and avoid pain, like all mammals.
Indeed. And I wish we had more time to talk to you about it, but you can call another night anytime. Earlier on is always better, and we'll look forward to it. Thank you, Matthew, for the call. Seek pleasure and avoid pain. We'll see you tomorrow night at freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Questioning Authority is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, July 7th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.04 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,255 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $20, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,566. Antiwar.com reports on Friday afternoon, Syrian rebels confirmed that a deal was reached with Russian and Jordanian negotiators to end the offensive in Daraa province and bring the region back under de facto government control. Under the deal, Russian military police will take the border crossings and will guarantee the return of displaced civilians and rebels who want to end their opposition to government rule. The rebels will disarm, but in a series of stages. In addition to ending the Syrian military offensive, the deal also calls for the gradual withdrawal of Syrian army forces from the towns they've taken and to be replaced by local forces who are overseen by Russia. This too is expected to take some time. Those rebels unwilling to resolve their rebel status, for which the Syrian government has been offering broad amnesty, are expected to be transferred north into rebel-held areas there. Once completed, this effectively ends the rebellion across southern Syria. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap and Amazon, at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com. UPI reports federal prosecutors dropped charges Friday against the remaining 38 protesters arrested during President Donald Trump's inauguration, according to court documents. The U.S. Attorney's Office in the District of Columbia made the decision to drop the rioting charges after 21 people pled guilty. Police initially arrested and charged 234 people with rioting. Prosecutors dropped cases against 129 people in January in order to focus attention on more serious offenses. 6 defendants who went to trial were acquitted of charges, and prosecutors said they'd be unable to secure convictions convictions for dozens of others. Called out for individual acts of vandalism, violence, and destruction, prosecutors allege the protesters engaged in black bloc tactics on January 20th, 2017 during Trump's swearing-in, causing damage to vehicles and property. 6 police officers were hurt during the protest as they exchanged flashbang explosives with protesters hurling rocks and firecrackers at them. Police said the protest resulted in more than $100,000 in damage across the District of Columbia. A statement from the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington, D.C. said in light of results in the cases brought to trial, however, the U.S. Attorney's Office has now moved to dismiss charges against the 38 remaining defendants in this matter. Defense attorneys said prosecutors overreached in most of the cases, saying their clients were peaceful protesters caught up in arrest of the more violent rioters. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system and to fully capitalize on that decision in their fundraising efforts. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy, maximizing the potential cross-promotion of all our clients and commercial partners. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com. Reuters reports a federal judge ordered on Friday that the U.S. government must provide a list by Saturday evening of the estimated 100 children under the age of 5 who were separated from their parents when entering the United States. Judge Dana Sabraw also ordered the government to explain by Saturday its expectation for reuniting each of those children with their parents by the end of Tuesday. Sabraw last month issued the reunification order, which also set a July 26 deadline for more than 2,000 children to be reunited with their parents. The U.S. government attorneys said they may fail to meet these deadlines due to delays in confirming family relationships, but Sabraw declined to extend them without more information. The judge said, "What I'm contemplating is that the government provides a list to plaintiffs' counsel by tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific, with the identities of the children." He also asked the government to provide the ACLU, which brought the class action case, with expectations for meeting the deadline for each of the children on the list. The judge scheduled a status conference for Monday at 10 a.m. and said he hopes the government and the ACLU can reach agreement about any need to extend the reunification deadline. The government said in court documents that it was particularly struggling to connect children with their parents who were released from detention. ACLU attorney Lee Gallant said organizations would jump at the chance to help connect the parents with their children. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
In an unsettling video released over the web this week, Buddhist extremist cell Kamathana vowed to unleash a massive wave of serenity and nirvana all across the West. Members of the group threatened to implement such severe measures as tranquil chanting, meditation sessions, and eye-opening koans, and assured U.S. leaders of the group's absolute commitment to engulfing Americans in complete and unyielding enlightenment. Here now is a clip from the video.
We will not cease until every city, from New York to London, succumbs to a state of spiritual harmony. Prepare yourself.
Sources confirm that the Pentagon responded to the film by ordering immediate tactical bombings throughout Tibet. And in tech news, the inventor of the Gromdar says he's determined to put a Gromdar in every American home. In other news, a woman who had almost formed a healthy sense of self joined social media, and an area man can remember exactly where he was and what he was doing when he assassinated John F. Kennedy.
This is the Onion News Network.
Sound too nice. No, I am Canadian after all, but
all right, and we're back. This is Questioning Authority live on this Saturday night. I'm trusting all the technical stuff are well. I actually made a surprise cameo on Free Talk Live, apparently just 10 minutes ago. But anyways, have a happy belated July 4th, everyone. It's let's see, how many years do I have to wait until I get to do a July 4th broadcast? And man, is that going to be kick-ass? Because, you know, obviously in a few years I'm going to be rolling in the cash with all the crypto and everything, so that'd be great. I get to have all sorts of smoked meats, all kinds of other stuff, hopefully some property, hopefully a very, very fine missus to, you know, share that property with. and I'll be doing my 4th of July broadcast from there, and it'll be quite something. It'll be quite a big fucking party. Not that every episode isn't a big fucking party, but I digress. So I'm just going to dive right in. So I actually have a decent amount of show prep today. Let's see here. Mental disease of state worship. Ooh, that's among alt-righters, right-wingers. That's a good one. Let's see. Oh yeah, Unite for Right 2, the Electric Boogaloo. That's another one I'll get into. But first, I'm going to get into a favorite among at least the hosts of the LRN live shows. I'm going to be talking about cannabis. We'll be talking about both, and not just Canadian, right? Not just Canadian, but also American law articles. So I'm just going to dive right in. Herb.co. What's wrong with Canada's cannabis legalization plans by Rob Hoffman, who's published July 1st. And the sub-headline is, not all cannabis advocates are happy with how things turned out in Canada. And I clicked on this when I was just browsing herb.co earlier today. And he actually, today, to go on a tangent already within the first segment, but I'm pretty revved up for today's episode. I'm absolutely revved up for today's episode because I've just been getting ready all week. Now, one might ask, Vincent, do you have a script? Do you have some, hard show prep? Do you have guests? Do you have clips all in order? Are you going to have all your plugs all in order? Are you going to get your shit together? You're not going to go on to so many tangents. You're not going to be scatterbrained, as I've been described as recently by someone I've thrown out of my life. And I'm going to say no. I've been preparing for the upcoming collapse, shit hits the fan, what's the helter skelter, whatever you want to call it. I've just been working out nonstop, going to the range, just getting my survival gear already, just taking inventory, but mainly working out, like to the point where I was just working out every day, and then I'm like, oh shit, I think I'm doing this wrong. And I look out, and you're supposed to have a few days off so your muscles could repair themselves. But I've just been doing, and I've proven my father wrong, right? He's, my dad's the one who's all buff and, big, and he looks like a steroid head. He's perfect cop build, as they'd say. And I'm doing hammer curls, and he's like, no, do it a traditional curl. It's much better. And I show him, I say, no, hammer curls strengthen. I think it's more targeted than the other one. But so yeah, I've just been working out. I went for a swim today. I played Left 4. Now I sound like a loser. I played Left 4 Dead on advanced mode. It's the first time I played on expert last night, and I did actually pretty good for myself, but then died right before a safe house. So I'm revved up. I'm ready to go. So anyways, I see this article about what's, quote, wrong with the Canada's Cannabis Act, and I figured to myself, I said, we're probably going to feature Jody Emery. And now Jody Emery is a Canadian cannabis activist. I believe Ian had her on Free Talk Live or had some sort of connection to her. And I was disappointed with her because instead of being a member of Canada's Libertarian Party, she became, I believe she went with the Parti Libéral. Or maybe NDP. I mean, NDP I'd understand. Okay, I don't want to bore y'all with Canadian politics. Okay, I'll begin with this article. On June 21st, Bill C-45, Canada's historic legislation legalizing the consumption and sale of recreational cannabis, was given royal assent. Because Canada is technically still part of the constitutional monarchy, it's still a crown subject, but not me and not my family. I'm telling you what. And, okay, I won't. I say this is as bad as a broadcast for me to say this twice in a row, but I won't bore you with my views on Quebec separatism. Although I did miss Quebec Day, so if I am able to celebrate it more next summer, then I'll do a whole. Instead of Pride Month, I'd celebrate June as Quebec Month. Let's see. The last step in the parliamentary process before a bill becomes law. But despite much celebration by Canadian citizens, lawmakers, and cannabis businesses alike. Oh, you mean the government crony capitalists? You mean because it's not actually free, and in Quebec, we're not going to allow you to grow. We're not going to allow you to grow any at your home. So the only people who will be allowed to grow and sell cannabis are going to be the crony capitalists that are in bed with the government there. But its prohibition under the Cannabis Act, for example, just It's prohibited under pardon me. It's this computer's at an angle. It's prohibited under the Cannabis Act, for example, just to possess a budding or flowering cannabis plant in a public place, and citizens can be imprisoned for 5 years for doing so. Many are also concerned about the potential battle between tenants who wish to grow cannabis and landlords who wish to prohibit it in provinces like Saskatchewan, where the ability to grow cannabis in one